Take WMLN on the go no matter where you go. Thanks to our app on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Whether it's the copier jam or the traffic jam, you can still take WMLN with you wherever you go.
Pombo and Milliken. Tuesdays, 4 to 7. Talking baseball, basketball, and football with just a little soccer and MMA in the mix. WMLN 91.5, Milton, Boston.
Pombo and Milliken. We're back again, back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks.
Who would ever thought we'd be able to do it?
We're not going to make the trifecta, though.
Listen, that's not... Hey, not on air.
Not on air, not live anyway.
But we will have content uploaded to YouTube. Anyone who went and watched the first episode, I think we got like 33 viewers.
We got closer to 40.
Closer to 40? Look at y'all, real ones.
Yeah.
And that's an unlisted video. Imagine what would happen if we didn't unlist it. And we have, thanks to our producer, Ben Brophy, that will be happening very soon.
Nice job, Brof.
So for some reason you can't figure out how Twitter works.
Brof has his own show.
Yes, Race Week Rundown.
Yes, every Thursday, 4 to 7.
It's a great program here at WMLN. Our first race show since 2015, I heard today.
Yes, we figured that out going through some old program guides.
Ben Brophy making history. So just to give a little idea of our schedule today, 4 to 5:30ish, we're going to be talking a lot of Red Sox stuff. Then we'll switch over to basketball and then a little football. But before we get super deep into the baseball stuff, we just wanted to say rest in peace to Nick Cafardo. I think both of us growing up in Boston, who didn't read his Sunday column notes every single week, that he came with some of the most in-depth stuff, whether it was clubhouse stuff, rumors going around. He always was there, consistent, 15 years, never missed a single week.
Yeah.
Dog, come on.
And I think he passed away, I think it was right after our show. Was it Tuesday?
Yeah.
Or Wednesday? Tuesday.
No, I think it was Tuesday. Was it? No, Wednesday. It couldn't have been. We would have known by the show. But an awful death. Hope anyone who was friends with him on the Red Sox beat, especially the Globe. I've seen a lot of really heartfelt articles and different stuff like that. It's awful when baseball loses a great mind like him, but his work isn't going anywhere, and it seems like he's going to be on the path of getting inducted to Cooperstown. So I hope that train keeps going forward because he deserves it.
Yeah, it was cool what Alex Cora did too. He talked about him.
Compared with his dad and stuff.
Yep, he talked to him, I think, for 7 straight minutes or 8 straight minutes, which I thought was really cool.
That's what stands out to me with Alex Cora. He's one of the most genuine and real managers. He might be the most I've ever seen. I think a lot of people, you look back, what was it, right around the time interviews and he was getting hired, there was talk about he had a little bit of a drunk situation while he was with the Astros.
I actually forgot about that. I do.
A lot of people said he wasn't ready to hand.
I forgot about that. Did you hear what John Henry said about this? Is kind of not random, but it portrays to him. John Henry said his only thing he was worried about with Cora was that he was too confident.
Yeah, and honestly, that doesn't bother me. I think that confidence is very similar to what you get from the young.
Because Henry would be like, "Oh, what are we going to do about this?" And then he's like, "we'll figure it out." Like,
I just think he.
I could do this, and this.
Yeah, like you look at a guy like Mookie Betts. He doesn't. Quote-wise, scream confidence from what he says. It's just always very short.
Quiet, for sure.
But it's short, but he always is like, I got this. There's no panic. You don't sense that. That's what I get with Cora. And I think Cora enjoys kind of not being the bad guy, but being the, what you gonna do about it? Aaron Boone don't talk like this. You know what I'm saying?
He can't.
He definitely can. He'll get bullied.
How about with Alex Cora when he was fighting with I think it was the Yankees bench coach?
Yeah,
remember he told me he was mouthing, get the bleep out.
Yeah, dude, that's Alex Cora, man.
He's like,
Alex Cora's not taking
get out of my
anything.
box. Like, no, go back into your box. Is what he said.
He's the polar opposite to John Farrell. John Farrell, I could spit on his shoes and he'd shake my hand. Alex Cora, I promise you, would swing on me. Is he going to win? That's a different conversation.
I think he'd win.
Hey.
Respect.
Come on, man. Coming from those streets of Brockton. But no, just to bring it all back around, rest in peace to Nick Cafardo. I hope the Globe can continue to do its thing, and Red Sox are going to miss him a lot this season and moving forward. Yep. But let's kind of go right into our spring training Red Sox recap. We have a lot of different things we wanted to touch on. I think let's just hit on the smaller stuff. Ryan Brazier came back down. Or Ryan Brazier. I just said Brazier. God, I do that all the time. Ryan Brazier came back this week, or came back to spring training this week with the infected toe situation.
Yep.
It's been a week that he's still not ready to pitch. He doesn't seem too close to that.
Longer than they thought.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of things on the inside. He can play catch, but nothing too more than that.
Does that concern you?
No, it doesn't seem like they want to press him too heavy, and I understand that. Listen, it's early in spring training. Ryan Brazier himself he is a veteran in this league. The time may not be there overall, but he's been around in clubhouses.
The service time for sure.
He knows what he's come up through the minors. He's not in any rush or anything like that. I start to panic usually first week of March. If they're not throwing by then, that's when you kind of get scared. Just because arm strength is weird, but we've seen, reliever-wise, Core very slow with Craig Kimbrell last year.
It's odd to really think about this, but I'm not saying they're dependent on Ryan Brazier, but he is a really big thing of what they want to do for this season.
He needs to be there.
Whether it's from the closing role, the eighth inning role.
He's the top two guys. It's Matt Barnes and him, and there's no one really else in that conversation within
Tyler
itself.
Thornburg's the wild card. But
we're talking in terms of dependability relievers. You know what I mean? It's great to think about Tyler Thornburg, and it's not even in terms of the closing situation, but if we're ranking like groups of talent and at least performance lately, it's been Brazier and Barnes. Do I think either one of them is going to be the pronounced closer? Nope. I think they're going to just go based off the situations, but I'm not ready to panic yet. And just a heads up for today's game, it was rained out.
It was, yes.
Whatever it's called, Dunlin. They were going to play the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Rain. I don't know how bad the rain was. Unfortunately, I'm here in Massachusetts.
I wish I could find out.
Yeah, but, situations like that, if it's drizzling, they're not going to have anyone play. Should we get right into the Dustin Pedroia stuff?
Sure.
So, I've been at war on Twitter.
He's been beefing.
Listen, dude. Listen.
Tyler very rarely beefs on Twitter. I think
I've made my comeback.
I've seen it a couple times, not very often.
Back in the day, like high school, I lived for that stuff.
Did you? I don't respond.
I had this thing where I was I want to embarrass you.
I don't give a damn. I don't respond. You're not worth my time.
Oh, calm down, Pombo. I sat there. I hated the people.
They want you to respond.
There's just such a... All right, listen. I don't know if this is coming from someone who studied baseball very hard. Maybe I'm being a little snouty or whatever. Casual fans who come in and they try to make points when they don't have any evidence, that's the stuff that bothers me.
Can we give a breakdown on how the conversation went?
So, basically, let me pull it up. I'm probably going to start screaming into the mic. Watch this kid respond while I'm on air. So, I had made a tweet. It was after Michael Chavis' second home run, I believe. Oh, no. Oh my God, I think he responded.
Yes, let's go.
No, he didn't.
Tell him to call up right now.
This person knows. Their name's iCarly something, by the way, so this shows you the maturity I'm fighting here. It's probably a 12-year-old. iCarly and then like 8 numbers.
Who's iCarly?
Do you remember iCarly?
Yeah, Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah. That's this kid's handle.
Oh, it's his handle.
I don't know how old this kid is. I'm probably bullying like an 8-year-old or something, watching reruns. So basically, Michael Chavis had hit his second home run of spring training. And I didn't make any outrageous claim, in my opinion.
To him, you did.
To him, I spit on his father.
I've never. You spitting today, dude.
Listen, man.
It's the second spit reference in 13 minutes.
Trying to get disrespectful. So yeah, Michael Chavis hit his second go-ahead 3-run home run of the spring training. I said if Chavis can prove himself defensively at second base, Pedroia isn't going to have all season to find his footing. I don't think that's a crazy.
Is that
claim.
Exactly what you said?
Yep, word for word.
Okay.
With my nice Red Sox hashtag and the one like I got from Jason Pombo.
Got a rep.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Basically, me and this kid went back and forth. This kid made multiple assumptions. Did he respond
immediately? Did he?
Yes, he was.
So he's like within 2 minutes. Yeah, now, did you follow this guy or did he see it from the hashtag?
I guess it's from the hashtag.
From the hashtag.
So interestingly, I am not seeing his things pop up in my responses. So I don't know if he blocked me.
I can look.
Yeah, go ahead, Pombo. Can you pull up those tweets back and forth?
They're still there.
Oh no, I have them in front of me. This kid tweets a lot. Basically, this kid came out and said Dustin Pedroia is going to be 100% okay. He's going to be exactly who he was before the surgery. No complications. He's going to be better than ever. That's not true. He's admitted that himself this spring training. And it started, he'd pull out quotes that didn't make sense, or that didn't make sense based off timetables. At one point, he pulled 2, one from July, one from September last year, about Dustin Pedroia's timetable. Listen, it's been a whole offseason. Rehabs change. Talking like there's a potential for a 162-game season from him. That's not what it is. Dave Dombrowski.
That's what he said back to you?
Something like that. And I'm paraphrasing here. But overall, Dave Dombrowski has gone out and said, we're hopeful he's a 120 to 135 game player. And that was February 6th-ish. Mm-hmm. In the past week, he's kind of tempered that down to 120 games. And at the moment, Dustin Pedroia, people are saying probably around March 6th. He's going to debut in spring training. He's still on side-to-side drills, fielding-wise, down in spring training. He's 35 years old. He's a second baseman.
I'm sorry.
There's a random oh my God. So the person beefing with me has a duck. Does this mean I lost immediately?
Yeah,
Dang.
he's got a duck. That's a cool looking duck.
Dang, I respect.
That's a cool looking duck. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, we just went back and forth, and typical, Red Sox.
He was also
fanboy.
at spring training.
Oh, was he?
Oh, I think.
Okay, but typical Red Sox fanboy. Dustin Pedroia is going to be okay. Nothing's going to be wrong, and I couldn't let it go because I'm me.
Yep.
But yeah, we go into Dustin Pedroia right here. I don't have too much optimism going into the season.
Two ducks.
Two ducks? Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Jason's giving us the duck reveal. Oh, 3 ducks. That's a third.
That's a third, yes.
Dang. He's really flexing that check on me. I got no ducks.
You don't have ducks.
That makes me a broke boy. But no, Dustin Pedroia, listen, from what people said, he's looked good with where he's at. He's limited. Pretty limited. Actually, it's a quote from Chad Jennings. He's looked good in batting practice, but there's been no live pitching and no game action.
Ethel the duck. God help us.
Or
Ethel. I think it's Ethel.
Yeah. I'm not excited. Listen, I love Dustin Pedroia. My first season watching baseball was 2007. I've grown up with the guy. Still, I'm not going to buy into the fact just because he has 3 more years on his contract that he has to play out those years.
So do you think this is his last year?
I think it'll be this year or next year. Okay. We're talking about a surgery here. Pedroia.
Pretty significant, pretty substantial.
The only other guy to have this surgery in the MLB, Stephen Wright, doesn't look like he's going to be ready for opening day, and he said he's not going to be the same guy.
So that's true. There's only 2 people in the MLB that have had this surgery.
Yes, it was.
I know Pedroia. He spoke about how he needs to change his entire playing style.
He said, I think the quote was.
We had it pulled up last week. I don't know if Ben is it still there. That Pedroia quote from last week.
Can we play that real quick?
Right. As Ben pulls it up.
Okay. Just a heads up. This isn't that exact quote, but he's gone ahead and said, if it's the 10th inning and there's a ball up the middle, and we got breathing room, I hope pitchers understand if I don't die for it. What does that mean? That means you're a different player. You're not the same guy.
Pull it up.
Here you go, Ben.
Like, I'm okay, but I have to be smart, because if I play out of control or do something, I could wake up the next day and it could be bad. So, I don't want to work for as long as I have to mess that up. And
very, very, very scary. Listen, Dustin Pedroia, there's quotes of him saying, I'm going to be better than ever. Listen, this is Dustin Pedroia. The guy lives through confidence.
Yes.
It's great to be optimistic, but you got to be realistic and listen to when he's really opening up to the media. He's admitted he doesn't know what's coming next for him. He's taking it day by day. The argument ends there. I think Dustin Pedroia, if he comes out, say he's ready for opening day, and there's some people saying he won't be. Say he starts on opening day, through May he's hitting 220. Subpar defense, can't play every day.
What do you do with him?
You have to DL him. You don't have a choice. You're not going to let him go out there and be a shell of himself. Number one, Dustin Pedroia, the legacy here speaks for itself. He's won his World Series here.
Multiple.
It's a big deal. Even last year, when he did get his 3rd ring, there was a huge amount of talk about all the different leadership things he was doing in the clubhouse to get guys ready for at-bats. And then there's the sad story of him coming at spring training this year and taking grounders in the uniform. And you know why he took grounders in the uniform, Jason?
Why did he take?
Because the brace, he was wearing it under his pants, and he was looking for regular baseball pants to kind of do it, so it wouldn't be over the pants, so he could adjust. What is it? When a player wears a brace, usually they don't have the same ability to move around.
Correct.
It's a little more limiting. It's keeping them from
Have you worn
injury.
a knee brace before?
A knee brace? No, I have not. Have you?
No.
Ben? Hop in, Ben.
Yeah, I have. So
Ben was a hockey player.
the thick ones, like the ACL ones like that, I haven't worn. I've worn one that's a little bit that still has some metal things down the side, and basically you can move your leg forward and back, and then that's about it. You can't really, for me at least, I couldn't twist it. I couldn't really do anything. It just prevents you from screwing your knee up even more.
And you know what that sounds like to me? Those side-to-side drills. Just a little to your left.
Lateral, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He's not making any crazy moves around the second base bag. And for a guy like Dustin Pedroia, who arguably the biggest standout of his career has been his defense at second base, the fact that he's not going to be able to do the same things he once did, that makes him a different player. That affects his value. That changes the perception on him. He doesn't have a lot of versatility. There's not a lot of at-bats up at the DH spot for this team either. So if he's struggling, they're not going to just let him sit there.
I just pulled up something that's kind of, I think, interesting, and it fits this narrative we're talking about. So I have an article pulled up here from 2010.
Okay.
It's Derek Jeter speaking about Dustin Pedroia's playing style.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is Jeter talking. Quote, he plays hard. He plays every game like it's game 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Wow.
I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I think we're going to, I'm sorry.
No, but
He's fun to watch. I got to know him a little bit during the Little League World Series, yada, yada, yada. You can appreciate how he plays. He plays the right way.
And listen, playing the right way is great, but it's not built to last a long time. You play hard every day, injuries happen.
But that first quote, I think, speaks volume.
Yeah, no.
He plays every game like it's game 7. What did he say last week?
Said
the
he
exact
can't play
opposite.
the same way. He said, 10th inning, can't, my body.
He just
if
said,
I do
he
stuff
just
like
said
that,
the
I don't know
exact
what's gonna
opposite.
happen.
He just said the opposite.
And that was my whole point in this Twitter argument, is when it comes to a guy like Dustin Pedroia, if he can't be exactly the over-energetic, spark plug diving player, then he's not Dustin Pedroia. I don't think Dustin Pedroia can stop himself from doing those things. It's great to say I won't dive for that ball in the moment, but you're telling me, think back to when you played, right? And, kid who loves you coach today, you do your thing. If there was a ball you could even get somewhat of a glove on, you were going for it.
Probably, yes.
Dustin Pedroia plays like a kid. That's
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's amazing. It's why we fell in love with him. But doing that at age 35, you know what happens to 35-year-olds who act like kids?
They don't last long.
They die if they're not on a baseball field. On a baseball field, you just destroy your body. So Dustin Pedroia, unless you want to see him with the, those little wheelchairs dogs have.
Oh, yeah.
Throw one of those on him.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You can't put this guy through this kind of damage.
He's even talked about,
things.
he said, like basically, I'm paraphrasing, like, yo, I have another guy's knee. That's my knee.
Exactly. When a guy says that, he goes, yeah, my right knee's 100%. What does that mean? At this point, the other knee, who knows? Stephen Wright confirmed the knee he had surgery on will never be 100% again. So
now, speaking in terms of going forward, are you confident of I'm going to call it a platoon between Pedroia, Holt, and Nunez?
I wouldn't consider it a platoon. So if they're going to have him,
I wouldn't either, but
if they're going to have him play 120 games, I consider it.
So Pedroia plays, 4 out of 5?
Yeah, just about. I think it's going to be different than that, though, in a game like baseball where it's so back-to-back.
No, I'm not saying, steady 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
but
I think they're going to be mixing in days off constantly. I think earlier in the year, it'll be even more than that. I'd be surprised if he plays more than
Saturday
2 games in a row.
or whatever, the matinee crap.
I'd be surprised if he plays 2 games in a row at that point. I don't think Pedroia is going to come back and be able to withstand what his body has to do to be a productive baseball player. That's why, this leads right into Michael Chavis.
What's your stat line for Pedroia, really quick?
I say he probably gets to June or July. He's hitting 250, 260. Defense very subpar. And Red Sox kind of realize things aren't going well. Knees nagging him. They DL him. And that's it for this year.
You think so?
Yep. I don't have faith in this knee lasting.
See, I agree with that, but I just have a hard time believing he's going to let them shut him down twice.
But if he becomes a player to the point where he's not bringing value,
liability,
they're not going to keep him out there. It's disrespectful at that point.
True, very true.
And that's where I think you see a guy like Michael Chavis. Why do you think he's getting reps at second base right now? It's for stuff like this. They want him to become as versatile as they can because they know once that position goes down, they're not going to call someone up who can play one position.
Well, right. And speaking of Chavis, he's a natural third baseman.
Yep. Shortstop out of high school.
Shortstop out of high school?
Yep.
But he's playing third in the bigs, right?
Playing first base, too, at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. So what do you think it's more likely if he comes up? Where do you think he'll be playing?
I think it would be a lot of second base. I think there's a chance for it. Chavis is not your prototypical second baseman, but there's been a lot of talk about with shifts in analytics where what was once expected of a second baseman isn't what's needed. Chavis, the issue is a little sloppy sometimes out there. At second base, do I think they're going to be in love with that idea? No. Do I think that means Chavis is going to go out there and become the everyday second baseman? No. But do I think he can go get a lot of the at-bats, a majority of the bats there? Especially, people don't realize how good he was the past couple years in the minors.
Well, he got popped for steroids, and that's kind of what turned a lot of people off.
Which it was stupid. Because you go ahead and you look at the numbers from last year alone, and he kept right on pace, but was actually better. Hit a total of 31 home runs in 2017. Actually was 35 if you involve the Arizona Fall League, where he went down and had a really good time. Last year, he played in 46 games, slash line at 298, 381, 538, 9 home runs, 14 doubles.
Does Chavis hold any value, or is he a guy you want to keep?
Well, you look at Sox prospects and MLB.com. He's
number one.
Yeah, number one ranked there. A lot of other ones, Bobby Delbeck. Off the top of my head, I think Alex Spear ranked him as his number one. And then there's some that have Darwinzon Hernandez. So it kind of mixes in. But Michael Chavis, it's rare to see a profile. Have you seen the clips of the home runs?
Yeah. I did.
They're no cheap shots.
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
he's lining these balls. He has a very advanced approach at the plate. A lot of people for a bit thought he was going to have those maturity skills quick enough. The plate approach, it clicked at some point, and now it's here, and this is looking like an impact bat.
Yeah, I think it could be. Off the gate, I'd say no. I
No.
think he's obviously probably going to start in AAA.
Mm-hmm. Made
If
it up there
somebody
last
goes
year.
down, could he be the first one to get called up?
I don't think he's
How
the
many
first
options
one.
does he have left?
Chavis,
Yeah.
full. He's,
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's never been up. I think
Oh, yeah, very true.
Yeah,
very true.
I think what people need to pay attention to is there's different lines. So if Pedroia, like some say, maybe starts the season on the DL, I think you see a Sam Travis kind of guy come up, and then you have a little more utility room, right? But if it's long-term, June, July, I think it would be very similar to the Andrew Benintendi situation, where it gets to the point where, listen, this kid, he's ready. You know, he can hit. Defense, yeah, it might be a liability, and that will be a whole conversation when the postseason comes around.
In terms of another second baseman that's kind of...
Chavis is known as a grinder, too, so I'm confident he'll be able to be at least
Are you worried
sufficient.
about Nunez's health, too?
Yeah, 100%. This is a guy who, 2 years now, half a season and a year, his knee never looked healthy, even in the postseason.
I know we're all here talking about Pedroia's knee, but is there a better chance that Nunez's knee gives out before Pedroia's?
And it doesn't. Nunez is so horrific defensively.
Yeah, he's terrible.
That he can't be even a midterm solution.
We all remember the Dylan Saraiva story.
Yeah, he's not even a 2-month kind of focus at a place like second base. You turn to Brock Holt way before you turn to that.
Of course.
Because Brock Holt, he may not blow the barn doors off, but he's at least going to be sufficient. Eduardo Nunez will go out there and drop routine grounders.
Yeah.
I just think with Chavis, people are underrating him a lot. He's 23. For him to go out there and swing the bat like he does, he's played in 3 games so far, 7 at-bats, 3 hits, 2 Ks in that time. But he knows how to take pitches. Nothing rattles him. He's never really been shaken up during his time here. And I think it speaks to his maturity that he came back from that 80-game suspension and was the same guy. I'd say better. The batting average improved a lot, and this was at a higher level.
So this will be his age 24 season, right? He's 23 right now. He'll be 24 in August.
Yeah, okay. So actually that would count as 23.
Season, yeah.
And people, Chavis first-round pick. People forget that. God, off the top of my head, I want to say it was 2014. It's been a while now. And he's dealt with a lot of injuries. That's what will slow him down, if anything. There's a chance, and it wouldn't surprise me if he got hurt in April or May and it becomes an issue. But if he's healthy, he's getting at bats on his team no matter what.
After doing a little bit of research here for the last few minutes, they actually worked Chavis out at second base last spring, too.
Yep. Chavis... The thing is, no one's ever seen him. Now, you look a year back, there was a lot of talk about him being a good utility player.
It was the same reason.
And there was a lot of talk about, maybe he's not a starting caliber prospect. Especially after the PED suspension, people were down on him. Coming back last year, I think he proved himself. Now, the issue is he's small. I think he's 5'10".
Chavis?
Yeah.
I think so.
Third base, he looks average. First base, he's pretty small to be playing first base, but, you can fit it in a pinch. And then second base,
I mean, at this point, I think they're trying to find room for him. I think that's the best way to put it.
Well, a lot of people thought Chavis was more of a trade piece. Him and Dalbec would be used.
Very true.
Or a utility guy. But if Chavis hits like he does, you can't keep that guy on the bench.
No, of course. Of course. It's just trying to find a solution. I think the first base platoon of Mitch Moreland and Steve Pearce is really going to, I'm not going to say backfire, but I don't think it's going to be as successful as years past. I think Moreland is... going to have a real down year.
So
I have
streaky.
a feeling Steve Pearce is going to come down to earth a little bit from that playoff high.
Steve Pearce played so out of his mind, it was something we couldn't
It was awesome,
comprehend.
even defensively. Defensively, he was insane.
I think Steve Pearce, if Mitch Moreland starts to struggle, he'll immediately get more of those reps. I don't think they're going to turn to him and be like, we need to find him a partner. I think the least with Mitch Moreland will be pretty solid as well. We've seen the ups and downs. We get it. When he's been healthy, he's been great. When he hasn't, it's like a toe injury. Really? These are the things that slow you down for half a season, but that's Mitch Moreland. This is the reason why he's never really broken through.
Are you comfortable with this potential Red Sox bench?
Yeah, very comfortable. Listen, there's not too many benches that have this kind of versatility.
Do they carry 3 catches?
No.
I don't think so either. I think
100% no. Talk has been they're going to trade a catcher before the end of spring training. Right now, it looks like Blake Swihart and Sandy Leon are in the midst of the battle.
Yep. I know who you'd keep.
100%. Sandy Leon's redundant at that point. Listen, Christian Vasquez has shown his ability. number one, great throwing catch.
There was times last year where people thought Vasquez was going to get dealt.
Yeah, solely off his batting average. It
I
really
think
started to drop.
It's been between the three. I think there's been times where like, oh, it's going to be Swihart. He's gone. He's the odd man out.
It's always switched up.
It's switched up the whole time. It looks like Swihart's the odd man out now, I think.
Honestly, I would give this regime a little more favoritism to Blake Swihart. I think the fact that they've held on to him this long.
He's going to stay?
Yeah. The fact that they've
So you think Sandy Leon's going to get dealt?
Yeah. I think the fact that they've held on to him this long says something. A lot of teams would have kind of just admitted that it was wrong.
How much goes into...
and with Christian Vasquez, the
I know
game
a lot
calling,
of
I know
pitchers
has been a
obviously
combo.
really like Sandy Leon. Like a lot of the pitchers, they really like him. Do you think that's going to go into the decision making?
No, not at this point. I think they abandoned a lot of the. I think 2 years ago with John Farrell, they were kind of obsessed with the idea of a pitcher having a catcher.
I know Chris Sale is a big Sandy Leon guy.
Listen, Christian Vasquez, he may not have the best game calling skills at the moment, but he's shown to be at least decent. The catch and throw skills are there.
He's at his moments where he hasn't looked great behind the plate.
No, but he's gotten better. We saw that last year. I think with Swihart, you have a backup catcher that can still give you value. Sandy Leon's not going to be worth much to really anyone.
The time to deal Swihart, if they were going to do it, was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and that's...
Remember how high his value was at a time?
People thought he would headline a White Sox deal for Chris Sale. Yeah. Listen, I think with Sandy Leon, it's great. Christian Vasquez has taken everything he could. Yeah, people are going to miss him without a doubt.
Who's Sandy Leon you're talking about? Yeah.
But he's going to, someone will trade for him to be a backup catcher. He's not a starting catcher in this league.
So I think Swihart would get you the most in return.
No,
really?
Neither of them have a ton of value. Blake Swihart hasn't proven anything. I think Sandy Leon's at least an MLB caliber player.
That's true. Some upside, I guess, with Swihart. I guess it depends on the situation, too. If you need a veteran catcher.
Like, look back to last year. There was talk about them just kind of cutting ties at one point,
That is very true.
when he was with all the injuries and stuff and him kind of coming back and not being himself.
Well, I guess if it's both a wash like that,
I go Blake Swihart. You have a guy.
You get the same return for both?
I think you get probably more for Sandy Leon, but I don't think
you get
getting
more for Sandy Leon.
Yeah, because he's a serviceable backup catcher.
Swihart's fallen, man.
Yes, he has.
Jeez.
What has Swihart proven?
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little.
He's been injured. He's dealt with different issues in terms of maturing defensively and offensively. But, there's still a lot of flashes of brightness there. We've seen, very athletic catcher. He can do things switch hitter. Sandy Leon, a switch hitter as well. But we have a younger side. We have a guy who could grow into something and still 26. Be special. Yep. But, you look at, remember Ryan LaVarnway? People were talking about him coming up and being an impact at 25 and 26. It's catcher. It's a slow development process.
Ryan LaVarnway?
I hope not. Extremely different players. I think Swihart still brings value on the base pass as well. He's not going to...
quicker.
Yeah, he's not going to burn anyone, but he has good speed. I'd lean more towards talent in a backup spot because I think your starting catcher in Vasquez is very dependable. You want to take a break here?
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you want to take us right off? Coming up, we got some Eduardo Rodriguez, some Rick Porcello, and then a couple
Jackie
other
Bradley.
Sports. Yeah, let's talk about that new stance, so we'll catch you on a few.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken on YouTube. Don't forget, every episode airs live on the WMLN app. Just search WMLN in your Apple or Google Play Store.
Just a little before we get into our next piece of information here.
Break it down, Tyler.
Last year, Blake Swihart hit 229, 285, 328. You're not getting anything for that on the market.
How about the year before?
Year before?
Was that the year he got hurt? Or was it the year before?
So, yeah. 2017, 2016, dealt with injuries, inconsistency. Last time he
broke his leg in the outfield, remember?
Yes.
I was at that game.
Ankle.
I do remember. Yeah. That was on my birthday.
Last time he played 84 games or somewhat close to a regular season, or half a regular season, really. He played 82 in 2018. The most games he's ever played was 84 in 2015. He hit 274, 319, 392.
Okay.
That you could probably get a pretty interesting taste from people, especially...
Has he been linked to any teams previously?
No.
Just the Chicago trade?
The White Sox, they've still, I believe last year, there wasn't trade interest.
The Mets, wasn't he linked to the Mets and that whole Matt Harvey thing years back?
As someone they could go after and just grab. Like, it's nothing substantial or important.
You just said Matt Harvey. Nate just looked.
Yeah. But when it was Matt Harvey and Blake Swihart, it wasn't like, let's swap them. You know what I mean? It was never anything like that. Blake Swihart, simply a guy who has not shown enough offensively at the plate.
You think Swihart wants out?
No. Definitely not. I think
so? Okay.
If he gets out, he's terrified.
I know he's wanted out before.
Yeah, couldn't blame him. There really wasn't room. They moved him around, made him change positions multiple times. He's playing third base, playing left field. Like, come on. But at this point, I think
they gave him a chance last year.
Yeah,
He stuck through some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, having 3 catches on your roster is not easy to do. Not many teams in this league I don't know how many off the top of my head did it.
There's not many.
I don't.
Not
any?
consistently, at least. Injuries are one thing. I know the Cardinals have mixed with it over the years.
Swihart DH'd. He played a little bit of outfield, like they moved him around. But still, having 3 catches on your roster is something that is not easy, and it's not something they want to go back to this year.
But that's exactly why I tend to lean Blake Swihart. You don't carry 3 catchers unless you're hoping that third catcher becomes a useful
I think they were
tool.
hoping he'd really turn the corner last year.
I felt like last year was a tough year.
I know, granted, he didn't have much playing time.
No, he was put in a lot of different spots. I think people forget how often he was brought in late in games, as a base running guy or to catch a couple final innings. He needs a consistent
He has
chance.
a lot more upside than Sandy Leon. I agree.
Way
I just
more.
have a feeling the Red Sox are going to deal him. I really do.
So the way a lot of people are talking is if you can trade Sandy Leon, you can probably get a decent reliever. Nothing lights out, but a decent middle reliever. At this point, a decent middle reliever goes a long way.
What if you deal Swihart?
No.
No?
You're going to get another reclamation project. Whether that's a guy in AAA who had a couple great seasons in the lower minors or someone who came up and got a taste.
Not fool a team, but if you can really get a team to be like, hey, I know you guys were calling about this guy 3 years ago.
He's a failed prospect.
You can buy him low right now.
He's a failed prospect. No one's going to.
That must have killed you to say.
Huh? No, but it's true. Like you said.
I don't think he's a total fail yet.
No, but he's considered a failed prospect.
Right now? Yes, right now.
And that alone is not enough for anyone to bite. It'd be one thing if, when he had that 274 batting average season, if it was a year or two ago, dude, it was 2015. That's a long time ago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
If we're going on 4 years ago.
Yeah, there's not much of a track record. There's not much he's been able to show that he's improved, maybe slightly defensively. But at this point with Blake, put him in a spot where, if he's the backup catcher, I think he'll get a little more playing time than a typical backup catcher, and you hope he grows into something. Because at this point, you can find a backup catcher like Sandy
You'd imagine
Leon
the deal
most
would
years.
come through probably within the next month.
Yeah, I think they're going to give them the spring training to battle it out. If Blake Swihart falls off the map this spring, then it's really going to get ugly. You're going to have an issue. I don't even know.
It's really too early to tell who's up in the battle. And
at that point, it'll be a team trained.
Do you remember, was it last year or the year before with Blake Swihart? He was catching, and he wouldn't throw back to the pitcher? Remember that?
Back to the pitcher.
Yes.
Like he had the yips, he couldn't throw it over.
Yeah, remember when he was just rolling it back? Wasn't it Swihart?
I don't think so. It's rolling it back.
I thought so. I could be wrong.
I do remember there was talk. He had an arm issue in early spring training a couple years ago.
I'm gonna look it up.
Where it was a little weird, but rolling the ball back.
I thought so.
Maybe Maybe it slipped my mind. With me and my Blake Swihart love. Did you find anything?
I'm looking.
All right, keep pulling through. We'll see. But yeah, overall, I think there's more upside with a guy like Blake Swihart. Sandy Leon, you kind of already have him in Christian Vasquez. And it's great that pitchers like guys, but you could find a veteran-heavy catcher who relates with a pitching staff in most places. And I think for Christian Vasquez's development, he can never become who he's supposed to be with Sandy Leon there.
You think so?
Because they lean on Sandy Leon. That's the issue. Christian Vasquez needs to become the guy they lean on. A lot of people, there's been the stats that made Christian Vasquez look like he couldn't call games. The legitimacy of that, I don't have a lot of stock in it. I think, he's young. He's figuring stuff out. Just... if you want Christian Vasquez to live up to that mini extension they gave him, that's the best route. I think it complements Vasquez and Swihart the same way. Any luck?
I'm looking.
You're looking. Okay, should we switch topics?
You can switch topics, yep.
Okay, Jackie Bradley Jr.
I'll end up quitting in a few minutes.
Yes, your guy Jackie Bradley Jr.
He's certainly not my guy.
Yeah, you and your anger towards him. So, JBJ, getting a little attention this spring. He had talked with Rob Bradford at WEI, I believe, about some of the changes he made to his swing. A lot of people didn't realize this story during last year, but JBJ actually started working with the same hitting gurus that JD Martinez worked with when he had his career resurgence. There was hope at that time JBJ could kind of find a similar spot. I know a lot of people considered all the regular season for JBJ last year a failure, and it was the postseason where he had some big moments. But after he started working with the hitting gurus, what do you think his batting average line was post All-Star break?
Jackie Bradley?
Yep.
It's going to be something absurd because you're going to make me look bad. 270.
269, 340, 487, 7 home runs. Do you want to give me his pre-All-Star line?
230?
210, 297, 345.
I give him too much credit.
Right? Crazy. He was a very good hitter. a good hitter. I wouldn't say very good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say very good.
Yeah,
hitter,
I'd say a good hitter. But
inconsistent hitter, I think is the best way to put it.
But like a 270 batting average, pretty good OBP and power for a center fielder out of that position, you're going to be happy. He's a free agent after the 2020 season coming up. So, there's started to been some talk about, are they going to want to extend him? Are they going to look to trade him? Listen, JBJ, while you have him right now, he's an essential piece to this team. The defense he brings in center field alone is huge. It's nice to get some pop out of that center field spot. And the truth is, you look at the center field market, there's not a lot of options there.
Right now, no, absolutely.
Just in general.
Not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. You're not going to find a lot of guys who can handle the position and at least not be an automatic out. But, the talk started originally, I believe it was Erasmo Ramirez. First pitch of live BP, JBJ smashed it out. And that was the story that got out. Chad Jennings ended up talking about a week later in basically his review of the second wing of spring training, or second week. And he said there were some swing and misses there. It wasn't all great.
So, with that all being said, are you sold on Jackie Bradley? Or are you not?
I'm not going to. It's spring training. Listen, people forget, I think Jackie Bradley hit .413 in spring training in 2013. Listen, or maybe it was .418, something in that range. I won't buy into it until it's the regular season. But those second half numbers mean something. And I wouldn't say it's crazy if he comes back and he's in that realm. Because if Jackie Bradley can hit 270, 340 with about 15 to 20 home runs, you're going to do pretty well in this league. With all-star Gold Glove caliber defense.
I was just going to mention the defense perspective.
He did hit another home run once game action came. I believe it was 2 days ago now. He went 1 for 2 in that game. It was an 0-1 count. I believe it was Drew Hutchison. So a major league pitcher who's gotten some innings over the year, and he did the damage against him. But JBJ for you buying in?
No, not yet.
What do you think
I think he's Jackie Bradley. I think he's the
just
same.
Up and down?
He's gonna bat.
I think consistency is always going to be an issue.
I found the video of Swihart. I was like, I was wrong. He did have so this was back in 2017. I'll show it to you, Tyler.
Let me see.
Just hit the play button.
Here's the throwing issues had this morning. It was a bullpen. Yeah. So remember, we were both on the same page. Yes. Listen, what day is this? February 17th?
I just remember there was something. No, I just remember there was something.
No, I think we both were both like, there was an issue where having trouble.
He did that multiple times. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Continue. You know what? 5 minutes out of my life, it wasn't what I was thinking. I'm happy.
But for JBJ himself, the arm continues to be a strength, at least in terms of the throw. Accuracy,
all right, what if
pitch handling's its own issue.
If Jackie Bradley stays like he usually does, he's getting about 190 for a month, and then for 8 weeks he's gonna bat 320.
Yeah.
Are we okay with that?
Yeah. It's Jackie Bradley Jr. The defense he brings in the outfield alone, he's consistent, stays on the field.
Did you ever think to move him?
For what? It depends. Like if who would take his spot? I don't want Mookie Betts out there.
That was my question.
You know what
Would you move anyone over there? I don't think Benintendi could do that.
Nope.
Especially not now. He's looking fat.
Yeah, he's put on I think he's put on some muscle.
He's fat,
You think he's fat?
I think he's fat.
I think he's gonna have a pretty good year this year.
I think he will too, but I think he's fat.
Oh God.
No, it's not a bad. I'm not saying like
good weight.
Pablo Sandoval fat, but he's gained some weight. It's obvious. Look at the pictures.
I think he's looking to add some power. I think that's the hope.
He should be hitting close to 25 home runs a year.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be around 280, 290.
Yeah, that's what he should be at.
But yeah, I think JBJ, he's a good fit in that outfield. Mookie Betts is the best defensive right fielder in the game. I don't want to move him out of there. I think keeping him out of center field, we remember some of the really crazy catches that were scary. We used to think he was getting hurt.
Yep.
I don't want to risk that. He has wrist issues already in right field sometimes. Let's not push it too far.
Is the outfield thin?
Depth-wise?
Yes.
No. I think you go deep into AAA. They got Gorky Hernandez over there.
So who's the fourth outfielder per se?
Right now on this team, well, they kind of continue down the same road they've been.
Brock Holt.
Yeah, where it's mixing and matching your utility players.
But you don't have the typical fourth outfielder like they usually kind of have.
So you pull up 2019 projected rosters here, right? Bench itself, you're going to have Brock Holt. You have a couple guys who can move around. JD Martinez himself serves as an off day for the outfielders.
Correct, yeah. But they don't have that fourth outfielder?
No, not true. And that's, there is one. He's in AAA. His name's Rusney Castillo.
I was just going to mention it, but they unfortunately can't do anything about that.
I think the guy you see called up if there's an issue this year is Gorky Hernandez. He's been hanging out actually with a lot of the big league guys, Mookie, playing ping pong.
Nobody they can look at it like a minimum deal, like a 1 year.
I don't think you need to. I think the fact that Gorky Hernandez had to sign a minor league deal kind of attributes to how bad free agency's been this year. he's a good fourth outfielder. He's had his moments, with LA before. So I think he's a good fit. I think there's a chance, a team gets desperate, they may make a move for him and pull depth out of our own system. Just because he's one of those guys you don't see on the free agent market too much.
Yeah.
And at some point he's going to get playing time this year. There's no way these three
guys
stay healthy.
I was just curious because over the years they've had that fourth outfielder at times. Even remember Chris Young, of course. He was
I
there
don't even want to think about that.
I hated the signing to begin with.
At the time it fit.
I didn't like it.
God.
No.
But depth-wise, I'm pretty comfortable with this team. I'm really not panicking in any kind of way. They have a lot of versatility within their players, and that's why this Red Sox team, when injuries happen, they don't fall apart usually. They're able to kind of stand tall.
Want to move to Erod quick?
Yes. Nothing crazy on Eduardo because it's very every year people kind of claim he's going to go out and become an ace. Everyone's saying...
That was me last year.
Yes.
He had a good year last year before he got hurt.
Yeah. This quote from Alex Cora, everyone is in the best shape of their life. Everyone knows that.
He does look good.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in the best shape of his life.
But Eddie really is in the best shape of his life.
I don't know if you've seen pictures of him, but he looks good.
He's added a slider. It used to be more of a cutter slider. Learned a lot
Is his
from Chris
velocity
Sale.
up a tick or two or no?
He doesn't really need to go up a tick or two. It's
That's
at
true. It's like
95,
96.
when he's healthy. I think that's the big thing. But he's saying he's fully healthy. He's been very amped up. Players are gathering around for his live BP and bullpen sessions. Chris Sale is co-signing the slider.
Who was a better year, him or Porcello?
That's a good question. So for people who don't realize, good segue, Jay.
Yes.
People who haven't been paying too close attention, Daniel Lavengi, our pitching coach, went out and said Rick Porcello recently threw his best bullpen he's ever seen from him. What does that mean? I don't know. It's spring training.
Yeah,
Rick
I don't really
30.
read too much into that. But if you look at the Porcello trend, he's got that great year.
Then a rough
year.
And, going into free agency, if he pitches well, he can earn himself a pretty solid deal.
Yep.
I think Eduardo Rodriguez personally has a better year. I think he's going to
I agree with you.
I just think the ERA is going to be around 3.5.
I agree with you.
If Chris Sale's telling you your slider's good, wow.
And Chris Sale isn't a big compliment giver. He likes to be the alpha kind of.
Yeah, I've never seen him as a guy who doesn't want to work with people.
No, I'm not saying he downgrade like he's.
But he speaks the truth.
Exactly.
He's not going to sugarcoat something just to make you feel good. Another story that's kind of getting a little attention. Rafael Devers, he's been looking kind of good at camp. So
I'll believe it when I see it.
Agreed. 100%.
You sweating about that one?
No, not really. I think for Rafael Devers himself.
That was your first Twitter fight I've ever seen.
Oh, God. There were some bad ones before that. But Rafael Devers himself, I think what people need to realize is at his age and how young he is, it's going to take so much for them to move him off that position. It would have to be another horrid season. It's a lack of...
I just don't think long term he's going to be a third.
When he's probably 30,
it looks like
31,
he's going. I think it might be even sooner.
What it comes down to me...
I think eventually he'll be first.
He has all the tools to play third base. That's not the problem. It's focus. Simply that. He looks...
IQ level...
No, I disagree.
Not saying regular. I'm saying baseball IQ level. Sometimes I feel like he doesn't think...
I think he's
could be his age, maturity level.
I think people forget how young Rafael Devers is.
No, he's a kid. I agree. I just eventually think he's going to end up being a first baseman.
Body shape is going to be a big way to go into it, but I think the Red Sox are going to hold on to that dream as long as they can.
He still has that baby fat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably 27, 28, 29. Maybe it'll be more convenient, but you'll see kind of the writing on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What did we got? 457?
Yep.
Red Sox bullpen talk. There isn't much. Not a lot of the main bullpen guys have been pitching in spring training in the first couple games. Brian Ellington got out there. Didn't wow me too much.
I don't know why, but I'm oddly confident about Thornburg.
No, I am too. People are saying he's looking very healthy. If he can come out and be 3/4 of what he was,
just very
good position.
Something about it. I don't know why. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be the closer, but I just have a little bit of a confidence in him.
He's an essential piece at this point because the reverse splits are something this bullpen's going to need for flexibility purposes.
And we talked about it last week. We both agree Barnes. Game one, say they're up 5-3, whatever it is, Barnes is getting the nod in the ninth.
Yeah, I think he'll be I don't think there's going to be a defined closer, but he'll be the one they go to probably most frequently.
I agree.
In terms of Dombrowski coming out and fully confirming once again that Craig Kimbrell will not be coming here.
Again.
Are you upset, happy, sad?
No, I'm not surprised. I I don't like totally killing that option.
I agree. It's a little weird how firm they are about it.
We were talking about it off air. They did extend the qualifying offer, so it doesn't seem there was interest, some level of interest.
I honestly, I don't think it means anything.
It might not.
It's solely draft pick.
It might not.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that we were actually talking about. They were talking about the Zoe and Beetle program today. He hasn't signed yet, so they don't have any draft pick compensation.
No, that's the thing. So
Yes.
now we're kind of sitting here.
Yes. And it would be a decent pick.
Yes, if this blows up in the Red Sox face.
So when does all right? So we haven't talked about this yet. His agent said he was actually. You know what? We'll take our break and then let's talk Kimbrel for a few minutes.
We can kind of go into detail about the false rumors that came out. We'll catch y'all in a few.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken on YouTube. Don't forget, every episode airs live on the WMLN app. Just search WMLN in your Apple or Google Play Store.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Pombo and Milliken. We got some baseball still coming for at least probably the next 10, 20, and then we'll switch off to basketball. But, okay, we were talking about Craig Kimbrel right before we went on break.
We teased it a little bit.
Yes, I think the only way this Craig Kimbrel situation blows up is if the Red Sox bullpen struggles and he signs a pillow contract.
I don't mean to put you on the spot here, Tyler.
Yep.
But on break, we were talking about in terms of compensation if he leaves in terms of a draft pick.
Yes.
Did you look up those rules?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So there's from what I read, and I was reading off MLB.com, there was no explanation. So there was a rumor that came out over the past couple days initially. So there was about probably an hour or two between these rumors. The first one was Craig Kimbrel was willing to sit out the season. Okay. Then Ken Rosenthal followed with a report from David Meter, who is his agent, who said, paraphrasing here, but that's not what we're considering.
Correct, yes.
We're looking forward to signing a contract in the near future.
Now, what do you think?
Now, when it comes to the rules itself, right?
Yep.
I did not find any reading. I'm guessing they've never really thought about if a player took a whole season off.
I don't imagine it's happened.
No, it hasn't. Now, what do I think with this situation?
There's a deadline or something?
I think Kimbrel, during the offseason, I think he's very frustrated. I think he's probably saying things that
is he pissed or is it his agent?
No, I think they both are. Both of their money's on the line here.
Did his agent lead him astray a little bit?
I think Kimbrel himself, we know him as a guy who's kind of his own guy. You know what I mean? A little bit of a lone wolf sometimes. I think he's probably been like, screw it, I won't play this year. Doesn't mean it. It's not true. I think his agent, David Meter, had to clean it up a little for him. That's my guess.
He got a lot of blowback.
Yes. I'm telling you, the only way this situation blows up, he's going to sign a deal. At this point, he has to.
You still think he's going to cash in pretty nicely?
I think
I'm
it's not in terms of years, but in terms of annual value.
I think he's going to end up with like 1 in 15.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
16.
Probably closer to 1 in like 25.
You think he gets to 1 in 25?
Yeah, I think it's going to be something 1 in 25 or in a pillow with the Braves or something like that. A team who has plenty of money to spend, and it's not a real concern. But if he goes inside the contract like that, and I'm the Red Sox, and I realize I probably could have got him for cheaper and over a longer period, and I don't have a true closer in my bullpen, going to be a real rough look for you this year. Real rough.
I mean,
look.
I wouldn't have paid 25 for him though.
No, it won't be that, but the annual value will increase solely from the length of the deal.
Off air, we were talking about the qualifying offer.
Yep.
That was a year 17 and a half, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds right. My guess is when it comes to the qualifying offer, if somehow, who knows, reports blow up and he does sit out the year, I guess there would have to be a new conversation about how to handle that rule and that draft pick.
Well, I'm just curious. We were talking about it today on Zoe Beetle. I was just curious.
That draft itself, so will they just push it back a year? But then the compensation's not fair, right? Because you got to wait.
So you couldn't find it online, huh?
They have no talk about what. Well, there at least was no strict mention.
I bet you the Red Sox are. Well, I think he's going to sign. I don't think we have to worry about it. Yeah. But I'm sure the Red Sox have already inquired about it. I'm sure that's already been a conversation.
There's just no strict wording because I don't think they pictured it as a scenario.
Because where would that pick kind of fall?
Compensation. It depends on the team. Yeah. Solely on the team.
All right, Atlanta.
Atlanta last year wouldn't be not top 10. It would be it'd be at the end after the first round, if I'm off the top.
Something close to that.
Yes, because it's usually depending on where you laid your best pick. So I believe it would fall at the end in that little mix between the first and second round. Which with the MLB draft, it's a little bit of a complex thing.
Well, all I'm saying is that it's when you have a farm system that depleted. Well, I don't want to call it that depleted anymore. It would be helpful if that pick did something.
Yeah, I'm speaking a little out of my exact expertise here, but there is a mid-market kind of situation where certain teams get draft picks. Is a little bit more of a free room. So those teams get benefits that the larger payroll teams don't. But I believe they would get a pick in between those 2 rounds. I'm pretty sure. So Craig Kimbrell, overall, where do you think he lands?
We've talked about Atlanta so much.
I think
it's
that's
hard.
The spot.
You'd have to think there's
Perfect
another
fit.
team in there somewhere.
If the price drops low enough, yeah.
We just don't know who. We really haven't seen him linked to anybody besides the Phillies earlier.
Yeah. Which could become a whole different situation if they don't sign Bryce Harper.
Correct. I know they already signed Robertson, but things could change with that.
They could always add another bullpen arm, especially on a short deal. But yeah, I think Kimbrell's destined for Atlanta. I think it's going to be a perfect fit at the end of the day. You feel the same way?
I think that's probably how it's going to land, yeah.
Aaron Hicks, story broke, yesterday morning. He ended up signing a 7-year, $70 million deal.
$10 million, AAV.
Immediately went into effect. I think it's a great deal for the Yankees. I really
Yankees,
do.
that's their second in-house player they've extended in the last 2 or 3 weeks because Luis Severino.
4 years, $40 million.
Correct, yep.
Yeah. I think with Aaron Hicks, people don't realize how good of a ball player he is. I put it out on my Twitter. I'm guessing not too many people saw it. Thank you, Jason. Played, I believe it was 137 games last year. He finished with a 4.9 WAR. That tied for 19th in the MLB. The other players who matched that WAR, Jose Altuve in 136 games, and I believe Bogarts did it in 137 games. I don't think there's too many people who are putting Aaron Hicks and Xander Bogaerts in the same conversation heading into this offseason.
Well, we had that discussion last year. I remember that very vividly. We did.
In terms of what?
We were comparing them. No, I'm sorry. I'm a liar. We were Gregorius and Bogaerts.
Yes.
Ignore me.
So, yeah, with Aaron Hicks himself, not many people saw him. You know, he was moved around a lot versatility-wise. Not exactly living up to the prospect status that people once held to him when he was with the Twins. But if he's producing like that and doing it in so many different ways,
is this the new Yankee style?
I think it's the new baseball style. I think teams are going to look for the cheaper extension.
In terms of the Yankees had the opportunity to be in on guys like Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, and they elected to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to tend to do that from now on?
No, the Yankees are always going to spend money. That's never going to change.
They just weren't really in love with this free agent class, or they felt
I think
comfortable
Aaron Hicks
where they
is
were.
A really good ball player.
So that's my point, is you think they're comfortable with their in-house guys right now?
Yeah. They won 100 games last year. You know what I mean? Yes, they lost to the Red Sox in the divisional series. They won 100 games. Like, no matter which way you put it, guy was almost worth 5 wins.
I thought, I'm kind of segueing to the next topic here. I thought Nolan Arenado could have been a future option for them.
Yeah. Before a lot of the prospects came up and different stuff like that. I think with where the Yankees are right now, you build a farm system like they do, you don't waste it by throwing in and money towards players where you can fulfill it for much cheaper and probably a longer term.
Well, they're going to be a team at the deadline that really can do anything they want in terms of starting pitchers, in terms of whatever injuries come arise.
The Yankees had really put themselves in a bad situation at one point where they were almost crippled by contracts, whether it was Mark Teixeira,
Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yes, Alex Rodriguez. You know, Ellsbury's still sitting there, man. And there was talk about maybe him going to maybe him getting traded to the Giants. Doesn't look like there is anything left to that rumor. He got hurt again.
Yeah,
he's just sitting there. Like, it's at the point where I think both sides, it doesn't work. You know, neither side's happy.
You could see that coming, though. I
could see it when he signed the deal.
Exactly.
You know,
I liked him a lot when he was here. He was a good player.
He just never was what he was supposed to be.
He was inconsistent. I liked him a lot when he was here.
We got one true season of Jacoby Ellsbury, 2011.
Yeah, that was 32 home runs.
Lost out to Justin Verlander for the MVP.
He was awesome.
He deserved the MVP.
I remember when Ellsbury came
year.
up. He was electric.
I love the speed aspect. That's what I fell in love with. Yeah. And as that speed kind of
quick, he was
like body size like you, Pombo.
I know, he was awesome. I liked him a lot, man.
Skinny.
Yeah, he was great with the media. He was awesome.
It felt like,
and then when he went to the Yankees, I was disappointed.
Yeah, it felt like him and Pedroia were going to kind of be the two-headed, like new rising
too much
generation.
Money. He had that 2011 season, and that's
all you could think about.
And you can't even blame him. Like, that much money on the table.
Honestly, a lot of my bad feelings, and there were a lot. I think people forget how crazy the frustrations were with Jacoby Ellsbury at certain points. The Adrian Beltre situations when he was breaking
and
ribs.
Not to mention they had these people in the pipeline.
Jackie
Bradley basically ended up taking that role.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of looking at him as the next fix, and then Jackie was playing left field, and that became a whole thing. It didn't work. You look at Jacoby Ellsbury, I think you always look back solely, he played injured for a lot of 2013. His hand was really messed up during that playoff run. I'm pretty sure he took a picture and it was all black and blue.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
He got us
2 rings. Two
rings, you're right.
And he was a huge part. I think him and Pedroia arguably were the best players in that lineup back in 2007 in the World Series itself in terms of the production. But Aaron Hicks, good move for the Yankees. I think the MLB we're seeing today, Miles Malakis extension.
Is free agency going to be an issue moving forward for the MLB?
Until
they're gonna change it.
Yes, there's going to be a CBA change. I think there's a real chance for a player strike.
I was going to say, do you think there's a lockout? Because I think it's coming.
The players hate it. Guys like JD Martinez paraphrasing but saying this is the worst thing that could happen.
You have the players clashing against Manfred. Like, I know how many people spoke out against the pitch clock. Scherzer spoke out recently. David Price is blaming the foul balls. Like, there's a lot of... And I see how Manfred's trying to do it. He doesn't want to force it on them. He's trying to find this level ground here. He could force it on him, and I think that's what he's going to end up doing.
My biggest issue with Manfred is I don't think he's listening to the players. It's been pretty obvious.
I think he's trying. Because he could have forced it on him if they wanted to.
I disagree because we're in the second off season of this at this point.
Well, I think that's the issue here. If he wanted, all right, he doesn't want to force it on them. I think he's trying to find, I don't want to call it a middle ground, but he's trying to get them acceptable to the clock and just how things need to change.
Well, the clock's not even a conversation. Manfred has the ability to throw that in without even pushing that through.
He has
yeah.
it.
I agree. I think that's the right move. My issue with Manfred is in terms of listening and addressing what players are saying because he has not done that. Listen, this is 2 back-to-back off seasons. Players are sitting here saying, they're having a hard time.
And nothing's
checks.
got done. Nothing's got done.
They're not.
It's just been a lot of talk.
They won't address it.
It's just been a lot of talk.
Yeah, if you address it and talk about it, that's one thing. It's just the players' union talking.
Yeah.
That's it. It's great that you hear the other proposals, but you got to look at this situation. There's obviously not too much care for the players from his side, and that's a problem. Guys are not going to be okay with that. And Rob Manfred, I'd say he has some of the most pressure in all of sports right now. Easy, without even a conversation. If he doesn't figure this whole situation out, there's going to be a real problem. Yeah, I agree with that. The comments he made about Mike Trout having to brand himself.
Oh, yep. Because that ESPN article, Mike Trout was, it was actually pretty funny.
Thank you, intern
as
Nate.
well known as Kenneth Fareed.
Yes, stop. That's not true. Listen, Mike Trout himself, anyone who follows the sport.
I think it was ESPN where that survey was.
Anyone who follows the sport knows Mike Trout's the best player in the game. Kenneth Fareed.
I think it was they just surveyed random people off the street.
That's not the stuff. Washington Post. Thank you, Nate.
Yes.
Listen, I don't care about that. Mike Trout himself, he plays with the Los Angeles Angels. There's going to be no brand there no matter what. Who cared about Jared Weaver?
Yeah, Mike Trout scored a 22 in that awareness category, as they called it.
Who cared about Jared Weaver? Nobody.
Not many people.
Tim Salmon. Yeah, look at him. He won Rookie of the Year when he was here. He was part of a World Series run. Who cared about Mike Scioscia? No one. No one's cared about anything with the Angels. You know why? They show up in the 5th inning. Sorry. They're not going to ever push their players. And Mike Trout, the game of baseball, you look at the origins and a lot of it, he's the typical guy. The guys throughout history, a lot of the old-time classics, they were known for being professionals who kept it quiet and did their thing. You know what I mean? That was kind of, professionalism was such a big thing in baseball. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big believer in it, but Trout carries himself that way. It's the sport. Some players carry themselves like that.
Well, I think there's a real chance of Harper can, Harper is more vocal than Trout.
And that's why you don't need Trout to brand himself.
Harper does it.
No. Bryce Harper, he'll come up with the quotes.
Well, you know what? Trout's still young. You have no idea what he's going to do in free agency if he gets there.
If Mike Trout goes, if Bryce Harper doesn't go to the Phillies, the Phillies will sit and hold, go to Mike Trout. Mike Trout will become a bigger brand. He needs to go to the right market. He's playing in L.A.
So are you saying he's going to leave?
They haven't won a playoff game. Yes.
You think so?
Simply. I think
he's so loyal. I don't know.
A lot of people listen to the interview he had, what was it, over the weekend or at the end of last week. He wouldn't confirm to the Angels at all. He wouldn't even, he'd kind of be like, listen, we want to win.
I'd love to see it. To see it. How many was he? 2 more years in his deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
For him to go out and basically put it to the point, 2 more years on his deal. For him to get to the point where Trout is a guy, if he was even probably 60-70%, he'd kind of put it out there. No. he's going to be looking for a new home because this Angels team is not going to be
I hope so. That would be very, very exciting. And it would help him out in terms of marketability and a brand
Look at
standpoint.
Ohtani. Look, we have a guy who is pitching.
He's more popular than Trout.
Yes, but overall, if you ask people, it'd be the same thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe in Japan. Definitely in Japan.
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah.
But you have a guy who's living Babe Ruth, who's playing baseball right now, and no one outside of baseball cares about him.
Correct.
It's the Los Angeles Angels.
That's an issue.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. Clayton Kershaw, you want to hit on him real quick?
Yeah, so you're a big Kershaw guy, right?
Yeah.
So he's already popping up in spring training with some shoulder issues. I think it was called right shoulder inflammation. I believe it was the diagnostics.
Do you know where it comes from? Why a lot of people are saying he's having the issue? He was actually trying to up his velocity.
Yes.
A lot of people were complaining about it last season. Now this issue arises. I think
now this is back-to-back years where he's kind of dealing with injuries here.
It's more than that, unfortunately. You look over the years, Kershaw.
I feel like it's starting to catch up to him now.
Yeah.
He just turned 30.
Oh, I had a really good fact for you. In the last 30 years, I think he's the second or third pitcher with the most 200 inning seasons or something like that. The only other people on the list were CC Sabathia and Felix Hernandez. And if you look at both of their careers, I can't remember the exact stat. That might have been wrong. But in that group, this three-headed monster group was CC Sabathia, Felix Hernandez, and Clayton Kershaw. And you know what rings similar about all three of those? Felix Hernandez fell off in the middle of his career. CC Sabathia fell off in the mid-ish part. Now he's kind of had a little bit of a resurgence.
I was just going to say, Sabathia's kind of had a resurgence.
And now Kershaw.
I think it's very telling that Kershaw, he told Dave Roberts he didn't feel great after playing catch.
The fact that was coming from it came from Buster Olney's podcast.
Yeah,
but
it's for the second time in 13 days he's been shut down.
Now, look, we're going to look down his starts. He hasn't made 30 starts since 2015. Dating back to 2013, he's only made 30 starts twice.
Now, with him being banged up, do the Dodgers kind of... I know right now it looks like they're shifting towards Harper, it looks like.
Yeah.
Do they shift towards the starting pitcher market?
No.
Do they look at Keuchel?
I think they have a guy they believe can be an ace in Walker Buehler. I don't think they're too worried on that front. We saw in the postseason who was the one guy who dominated the Red Sox, Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
You know, they're not giving up on Kershaw either. Obviously.
I'm not saying you give up on him, but it doesn't look good for the future.
They're not going to panic and spend a ton of money just to fill
People
a
thought he was gone.
spot.
I mean, I was a believer that there was a shot.
No, I think it was a conversation, but he's so close to the Dodgers as a whole that
it was a $93 million extension.
Yeah, it felt hard to me to imagine him in a different spot. This is a guy who's the best pitcher of this generation.
Oh, 100%. No doubt.
And it's not even
Zero
close.
doubt.
And for people who want to go there and be like, well, it's not like he's falling off the boat. He was second in Cy Young voting in 2017.
Between him, I think he kind of, right after Bumgarner, really had a stretch where he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Kershaw came in and he was. Now I feel like Scherzer, and Nate's boy. Don't worry, Nate. I was getting you, boy. DeGrom, right there too. Well, Sales in the conversation, but I don't think Kershaw's the definite best pitcher in the MLB anymore now.
No, I agree with you there. There's a very similar correlation between Bumgarner and Kershaw, though.
Yeah,
both came up very, very, very early in their careers and were pitching very heavy inning totals each year. I think Bumgarner, personally, I think he's going to bounce back. He's heading into free agency next year. I think Kershaw, Bumgarner prior to last season never really hit dealt.
Well, in terms of postseason was a little bit of opposite. Bumgarner was just such a storied success, a World Series champion.
But in terms of inning totals,
Kershaw struggled.
It was the same. Kershaw was pitching 250 innings.
Yes. Yeah.
Wear
and tear.
Yeah, Bumgarner until 2017, he had that freak ATV incident or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
He broke his arm.
I forgot about that.
It was 17 starts in 2017 and 21 last year.
Can you imagine if that happened in here in a Boston market?
It would be the end of the world. It would be the end of the world.
We'd freak out if we see Tom Brady cliff jumping.
Yeah. Brady, didn't he have a moment? He was at not an amusement park. He did something and people were freaking out.
Cliff jump.
Was it cliff jumping? Yeah, that's what it was.
It was 2 years ago. He jumped off a cliff.
Posted on his Facebook or
something like that. I think it was before his Instagram.
It was his wife, wasn't it?
I think he posted it.
Did he post it?
Yeah, and I remember everyone was like, you gotta be careful, this and that, but no.
Relax. People gotta live, man.
Jumped off a cliff. Would you ever cliff jump?
No, I'm terrified of heights.
Are you afraid of heights? I don't think I'd cliff jump yet. I'm not terrified.
You put me on something, if I stood on the roof here, I wouldn't be able to move.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't like roller coasters?
No, none.
I don't like roller coasters either.
I like water parks.
Yes.
Water parks are where it's at.
Big water park guy. Bro, you like water parks?
Water parks are great, but how can you not like roller coasters?
I don't like to go upside
I don't
down.
want to get my head chopped off.
I'm not afraid of that.
Neither of those things
I
are
don't
going to
like to go
happen.
upside
You ever been to the
down.
Brockton Fair? Ben Brophy?
All right, no, we're not
that sounds
talking.
like
We're
the
not
place
talking.
is gonna happen.
No, we're
You're
not
right, you
talking
got me there.
fairs. I'm talking like
Hey,
Six
water
Flags.
parks are great.
Water parks are
I'd go
great.
cliff jumping.
Yeah? Would you go skydiving?
Nope.
Ben would.
I think I might.
John McWaters will be.
You know, if someone gave me the opportunity, I'd do it. Why
I don't know
not?
if
That'd be fun.
You jump out of a plane. man.
I'm not jumping out of a plane.
I like, dude. The second you exit, like the second that I got out of that plane, I'd be fine.
I know
but
my
that
luck.
ride
the worst
up,
part,
that
the worst
ride
part
up,
is the ride up.
oh gosh, I'd hate every moment.
You'd have to be on some serious stuff to do something like that.
You think so?
Yes. Nate, stop it. Okay.
Nate's jumping out of a plane, everybody.
Please. But yeah, when it comes to Clayton Kershaw, I think he's going to probably need a year where those innings are extremely limited. He's going to need a lot of time
Just this
off.
year.
Yeah, his shoulder and his arm need a break. It's obvious. Will he get it? Probably not. And your body runs down pretty quick when it's already screaming at you in spring training. I think for Bumgarner though, I'm expecting a pretty big bounce back season, and I think he gets paid pretty well.
I hope so. I really like him. He's champion, does everything the right way.
He is the most clutch postseason pitcher of all time.
Between him and Pedro, it's 1-2.
I'd put him
You put
way
him above
above
Pedro?
Pedro got owned by the Yankees in the playoffs.
That's
I'm not
true.
giving him
That's
that
true.
one. Yeah. You want to do World Series odds?
Yep.
You got them in front of you, Pombo?
Of course I do.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is as of this is a little bit old. This is from Vegas Insider. This is first created was November 1st, right?
Okay.
So in this particular
Right
one,
after the World Series.
yes, the Yankees had 6-1 odds to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Nate, I see the Mets. What do you think of the Yankees 6-1? All right, I'm going to frame it to you this way. Who do you believe should be the favorite to win the World Series?
Heading into the season?
Correct.
I would go, if I had to throw my money towards someone, I'd probably throw it towards either the Astros. I'd probably throw it towards
So
the
the Astros are third in this list. It goes the Yankees are first, the Sox are second, Houston third, the Dodgers fourth, the Cubs 5.
Yeah, I think the Cubs were probably my,
Now,
Astros or Cubs.
I would go with Houston.
Yeah, they're my pick, just solely from the point. Listen, the Red Sox caught a lot of breaks. Don't get me wrong.
And that bullpen scares me a little bit. I know you're okay with it.
Early in the season, but I do think it's going to end up being an issue. And I just think the Red Sox had everyone perform so well. It was a year without so many issues. That doesn't happen 2 years in a row. That's not baseball. I think Alex Bregman's going to continue to get better. You have Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole. That rotation shapes itself out. I'm worried about Wade Miley, but there's claims that Wade Miley's found a new way to get through. Maybe it's not 88-mile-per-hour fastballs. That's not my taste.
My main question to you is, do you believe the Yankees have the best shot to win the World Series?
I think they're right up there. I think they're as good as any of those teams you mentioned. When it comes, I don't think there's really any separation between those clubs. I think the Yankees, they have their starting pitching problems. The Astros themselves, they got some bullpen issues they got to figure out still. Chicago Cubs, they got a couple different problems.
Cubs are right there. They're the fifth best odds.
I think Joe Madden could easily be fired after this year.
You've said that before.
If they don't make the World Series, I'm pretty sure he'll be fired.
So the NL seems wide open to me. I think between... So
if the Phillies get Harper, that's a huge game
these are the
changer.
top 5 odds in the NL to win the pennant in the NL.
Yep.
The Dodgers are 1, the Cubs are 2, the Phillies are 3, the Cardinals are 4, the Nationals are 5.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the
I think it all
Nationals
kind
should
of
be a
depends
little higher
on
on that
Harper a little
list.
bit. If Harper somehow ends up in Philly, I think they probably leapfrog the Cubs in my mind.
It'd be close. I would say
if he comes to Washington, I think the Nationals would leap St. Louis. If
Harper?
Yes.
Well, the Nationals have pulled out.
No, he hasn't signed yet.
Yeah,
you know what I
okay.
mean? And the Dodgers are number 1, and I think I'm okay with that for now.
Yeah, I think in terms of NL, I think the Cubs are my team. I think they're going to have a lot of bounce-back candidates. I'm excited to see Chris Bryant, and I think they're going to win in spite of Joe Madden. And there's talks going around if they win the World Series, Joe Madden's still a fireable manager. And honestly, that seems like a very Cubs thing to do. I'm expecting Chris Bryant. I think he wins the NL MVP.
You think wow.
Yeah.
Tyler giving you his NL MVP pick right there. Chris Bryant. You locking it in?
Shut up about Jacob deGrom, Nate. Yeah, I'll lock that in right now. Reports coming out, Chris Bryant finally healthy again. Talked a lot about how motivated he is by the Cubs and talking about him in trade proposals.
I love Chris Bryant.
I think he's going to hop back in.
So why are you down on the Cubs then?
Overall?
Yeah.
So I think it's Joe Madden, if anything, bringing them down. But like I said,
I thought you were a Joe Madden guy.
I was.
You kind of
falling off. It was heading into last year. Joe Madden was a genius with the Rays. Innovative. The thing is,
he really
he led this
shift.
Exactly. He left a lot of this led a lot of this analytical movement. But the truth is, he learned the starting stuff, and now where it is today, it seems over his head. He didn't motivate guys well enough last year. I think this team.
So you really think Theo would pull the plug on him?
Yep. This Buster Olney, according to what he said,
would be a perfect hire if he would end up somewhere else.
Who?
Joe Girardi.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea. Joe Girardi is going to be getting a job very, very soon.
That's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Not the Mets.
Stop with the Mets. You just, oh my God, Nate. You are so flip-flopped. You'll throw anyone out on the Mets for anything new. Jeez. But no, I think the Cubs are going to be a good team this year. They'll win in spite of Joe Madden.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that wrap us up on baseball?
That wraps us up. You want to take a quick break and then we'll come back with basketball?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We got basketball, football, and then questions?
Yes, sir.
Keep listening, guys.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken on YouTube. Don't forget, every episode airs live on the WMLN app. Just search WMLN in your Apple or Google Play Store.
All right, Pombo and Milliken. So
we back.
Yes, last segment we were talking about what would happen with the Red Sox compensation pick.
Tyler found some info.
Yes, so I was pretty close when I was explaining it. I didn't have the exact wording right, but so under the current rules, if the team that loses the free agent is a revenue sharing recipient, which the Braves are, based on its revenues and market size, then the selection, if and only if the lost player signs for at least $50 million, they'll be awarded a pick between the first round and competitive balance round A of the 2019 MLB
All right, so break
draft.
that down for us. What does that mean?
So basically, that little spot in between of the first and second round I was talking about for teams like the D-backs, the Brewers, the Tigers, the Twins, the Rays, the Reds, small market teams who need that little bit of help.
They benefit from it.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll get a pick in there, and the Red Sox.
That's
made
if
picks there before.
We're saying if Kimbrel signs with another team,
and that's for at least
Braves or
for at least $50 million. So if he signs a 1 year and 25, like I said earlier, then if the player signs for less than $50 million, the compensation pick for those teams would come after competitive balance round B, which follows the second round. So it would be like a third and
so that's what it's probably going to. Well, you think it could be a 2-year deal?
I think it's going to be a one in a vesting.
What if it's 1 and 1? What if it's 1 in a vesting? And let's say he doesn't get that.
That's a great question.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, when it comes to the wording like that, so if say it's like 2 years, $48 million. The second year is a vesting option.
We need a rules expert.
They're going to need over 3 years to get to that point. It comes down to rules, but my guess is right now.
I bet your friend knows.
Max Wilson?
Yes.
Shout out your kid.
He definitely
blowing up
knows.
Emerson, killing it.
MLB Network, he's everywhere.
God, he's killing the game. Makes me really feel bad about my life. I was once on such a high rise.
You're on the same level as him.
Not no more.
No.
We at WMLN. But yeah, so with the Red Sox, if Kimbrel does end up getting a pillow contract for that 1 year, it's good. That picks up a lot later.
I was just a curious.
It's not
topic.
fun for the Red Sox.
We were very curious about it, and I'm sure Dombrowski was too. I mean, it's never happened in terms of a guy not taking a year off theoretically.
Yeah. I'm curious as to how the Red Sox will feel about this if that pick ends up being later, because I assume they never thought it would get to that point.
I actually wish one of those beat writers would ask. Somebody's got to ask.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know. The beat writers don't really follow the draft. It's going to have to be someone deeper.
Who's going to ask?
It'll be someone in the front office. They're doing everything internal, obviously. I don't think there's anyone in that media group that's going to ask. None of them follow the MLB draft.
Who would if one had to do it? Who would it be?
Ooh, probably Evan Drellick.
Oh,
just to just rub it in, man.
That poor guy.
Hey, man. Shout out Evan Drellick. You do some good work, man.
He's going to get hired.
Yeah, without a doubt. Someone will pick him up.
Of course.
Jen McCaffrey.
Could be her.
She's amazing. She's a great writer.
She's good. I like Chris Smith, too.
Yeah, all great guys.
Shaughnessy's a very nice guy, too.
Huh?
Shaughnessy's a very nice guy.
Keep fighting for that job, kid. Should we go right into our Kyrie Irving comments?
Yep. Play him, Ben.
Go for it.
Starting at the point where you're concerned the struggle that you guys have had will leak into the playoffs?
No, it'll be fine.
Why do you think that?
Because I'm here. We're still waiting for that thing to click where, we've gone on 8 games, 6 games, 4 games winning streaks, and then, we'll hit a lull of 3 games, and then we're back answering questions like this. So, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't get frustrated about this stuff anymore. It's just part of the regular season, in the playoffs when we could plan for a team, prepare for a team. I still don't see anybody beating us in 7 games.
So that was Kyrie's post game after the Bulls loss. Very unique, very different from how he sounded throughout the season. Overall in losses, he's been down. He's been kind of blaming other people, blaming himself. But this was a very different approach. He was confident. There was a distinct difference in tone. He seemed okay where they were. He's realized that this is the group and that's how it's going to be.
I didn't get the vibe of confidence. I got it.
I did.
I got it is what it is, man. I got
confidence.
I'm confident in my game, but I don't know about these other guys. It is what it is, man.
He said, the second quote, he said, I don't think anyone can beat us in a 7-game series.
Great.
Yeah, that shows some confidence.
Sure. What else is he gonna say?
He didn't have to say it. He said it on his own. No one asked him that.
He's still trying here as an attempted leader to give this team that push, and that push isn't coming. I think. Listen.
I think he's right. I don't think any team in the East can beat him in a 7-game series. And I have a stat for you I just found on the break.
7-4 against the top 4 conference teams. Sorry, Jay.
There was more to that.
I had it in my notes.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm sorry, buddy. We share that athletic subscription, kid.
I just saw it on Twitter a minute ago.
Sorry. But yeah, listen. When it does come, sorry, Jason's so upset.
I saw it during the news reads, and I was like, oh, nice.
Dude, Jason put it right in his pocket.
Right in
My
there.
bad, buddy. But yeah, I think with Kyrie Irving himself, it's great that they played well in those games.
Keep talking.
Go for it.
No, I got to get it.
Yeah, I think simply the inconsistency says a lot. It's a different game, yes, when we get to the postseason. That doesn't change my feelings on Kyrie as a leader. He's not inspiring these guys. He's not pushing them to be greater. If anything, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Terry Rozier have all taken a step back. I don't think you agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that is what it is. A leader makes players better. We look at what's happening.
So Jaylen Brown's actually had a resurgence as of late. He's played a lot better.
As of late.
But in terms of Terry Rozier, he's been a train wreck this year.
And I don't put that completely on Kyrie. I won't.
No, I think Terry Rozier was in over his head, and he was expected to decline.
He's a crybaby.
And he was so good for that postseason run. He was...
Even during that span, he was extremely up and down. You know what I mean?
He was opening people's eyes. And so this was a tweet from Boston Sports Info. It was Terry Rozier's shooting percentage ranks in NBA since December 15th. He ranked like 130th out of 131 in field goal percentage.
Yep.
He was like 161 out of 164 in 2-point percentage. From 3-point percentage, he was 65th of 81. Like he was bad.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both down 7% in terms of their 3-point shooting.
I agree. Tatum's been inconsistent. Brown, I'm not a Jaylen Brown guy.
Let's speak in terms of the season. It's great the resurgence as of late, but 3-point percentage, 7 points down. Like there's issues there. Neither of them have made the jump people thought they were going to make, and it's simple.
Jason Tatum, the sophomore slump could be. He's not the only one that's dipped from that draft class. Donovan Mitchell's dipped a little bit.
It's a lack of intensity. That seems to be my biggest issue. Listen, do I think Jason Tatum has lost any of his prospect ability? No.
He's a superstar.
I just think he's playing with a guy like Kyrie. Kyrie's not going to make the guys around him better. That's not who he is. He's a guy
I think he's done a great job passing the ball this year.
Yes.
But
he's not putting guys in the situations to become better regularly.
You're saying off the court?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not growing as players. They don't seem to be making that jump. Yes, Kyrie's dishing the ball, doing his thing, but we still see, and whether it's because of the situation and just what it is, Kyrie's had to take over in those late moments. That's not good for a young team. You want to kind of come together and grow. When you have to pass it off to your parent whenever things get bad, you're never going to become your own adult.
That's fair.
And I think that's a reoccurring issue here.
Now, when they have a big game tonight at Toronto.
Especially when you look at guys like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown averaging 18 points in the postseason throughout his career. These are guys who've done it on his own, so it's even worse when your parent shows up. And
that's been
give me the car keys.
Been the story this whole season. Kind of reminds me of last year's Oklahoma City Thunder team a bit when they had Russell. Well, they still do, but they're actually having a good year.
Yeah,
great year, I should say.
Paul George.
Paul George is at MVP caliber, but they struggled between Adams, Westbrook, and Paul George last year. And a lot of the similar things, they'd go like the Celtics team, they'd go on like a 6-game win streak and they'd lose 3 in a row. But then they'd go on an 8-game win streak and they'd have a bad loss. Like that's just they're going to win tonight.
Yeah.
They're going to win tonight because that's just how they are. They will lose a crappy game in Chicago, but then they're going to go to Toronto and they kick the crap out of the Raptors. That's just how they're inconsistent. But it's tough to even describe them. It's been obviously a disappointment. I think Brad Stevens has to do a better job.
Yeah, agreed. Brad Stevens, obviously, no question about who he is as a head coach still. But when you look at how much he's really brought players to a different level throughout his coaching career. He's never had
to do this in his career.
He's coaching with guys who have the talent when they showed up.
Exactly. He's never had to do that in his career. Look at him back at Butler. All right, if you're playing college basketball at Butler, you obviously weren't one of the best in the country. Like, it's just how it is.
Well, look guys he shaped. Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, exactly. Look how much success he's had with guys like Isaiah Thomas, like Evan Turner, Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley. The list goes on and on. Jay Crowder
left.
Tyler Zeller. Like, the list goes on and on. Like, he gets guys paid. So this is a little bit different. Some guys have had good. Marcus Smart, I think, is at his best year of his career, in my opinion.
He's the only one bringing any intensity.
Kyrie's had a great year.
Kyrie's
had a great year. Marcus Morris has had a great year.
Yes.
I think Morris is on that line,
one of
too.
the saving graces.
But other than that, the young guys have dipped. I think some of that is to blame from the chemistry of the team, but I think some of it is also growth in. They came into the year, I think, overconfident. Jaylen Brown went on that press conference, and he was like, yo, I'm going to win 5 rings by I'm 28. Yeah. That wasn't a great look. Jason Tatum, he's in all these commercials now, this and that. He's been inconsistent. Terry Rozier, the stupid, scary Rozier, the stupid shirts.
I'm not going to put that on young guys, though, because that's a common thread amongst young athletes.
It is.
It comes down to me when a guy like Kyrie wasn't able to put these guys and get them in the mindset of where they need to be. If you're going to go and step out and claim Kyrie to be this leader, this game-changing force, this guy who can change a franchise and be that face, then you have to have that ability. Kyrie has not shown that ability. He hasn't shown a lick of that ability. Off the court, yes. It's great. Go on. Take over in the last 5 minutes. Kyrie Irving, he's arguably the guy I take every single time.
Every time.
But off the court is a huge thing too.
Off the court's an issue.
Do I think Kyrie can't grow into that? No, but he needs to start taking a different approach because
it's crazy to think he's still 20, he's 26.
Yes, he speaks down to
No,
people.
he does.
And
I think he says too much to the media.
Yes.
That is one issue I have with him. He talks too much to the media.
Like, I didn't have an issue with his comments about KD. I know a lot of people about the conversation.
I don't think that was bad either.
But there were people who were like, why is he... Listen,
no, I didn't.
You're talking to your friend.
I think the worst thing he had in terms of comments this year was probably after that loss to Orlando where Gordon Hayward screwed up.
Yeah.
That looked bad. But I had no issue with the KD thing. I think he's right on the KD thing. Get the hell out of him. Can't talk to my guy in the locker room.
I'm going to turn into Colin Coward.
Give me the analogy, Tyler.
Who remembers, high school class? We go to class, right? Man, carrying my book bag around, reading baseball blogs in the back of the classroom, being cool.
Is that you?
What teachers did you connect with in high school? It was the teachers who could relate to you, right? The normal guys. The guys who you could be like, oh, he's like me. He was like me before. Who didn't you relate to? The strict teachers. The teachers who put you in your place. Who didn't let you breathe. You know what these guys sound like to me? LeBron James and Kyrie Irving.
You divorced, Tyler?
Huh? Listen.
That's what Colin Coward is, man.
Hey, man. I've listened to so much Colin at this point, man. I don't even think in sports terms. I just think to my life. Why did this person abandon me?
We didn't get a Colin Coward liner. Crap.
That's next show.
I know.
That's our fault, Ben. We talked about it. We just didn't put it on the script. But that's the vibe I'm getting here. If you're in a... Am I wrong?
I just picture him saying that.
Yeah, but do you see the analogy I'm making? Don't get me wrong. In those situations, those guys that connect with students, they can get firm when they need to and take charge. Kyrie, him and LeBron are acting like, for real, y'all can't even walk with me. You know what I mean? You're not going to connect with guys in this league like that.
Especially true with LeBron. I think
more true with LeBron here.
Yesterday, I don't know how you feel about this.
Go ahead.
I assume you saw this. I think it looked really, really bad on LeBron.
100%.
You know what I'm talking about? The Instagram picture?
100%.
I think that looks so bad.
No,
I think that looks terrible. So,
go ahead.
So people who don't know, LeBron, he was the first player in NBA history to score 10,000 points and 10,000 assists in his career. So he put that picture of himself with that statistic on Instagram, and he had this whole thing of how great he was. I was like 4 sentences long.
Yeah.
When they just got their butts kicked by the Memphis Grizzlies, and there was videos of him not playing defense, and
did you see the play under the basket?
Yes,
where he looked and pulled up, hit a three
it shows
in his
where
mouth,
and your guy Colin Coward has talked about it is maybe LeBron is not all in.
No, I agree at this point.
I also saw this, that they have a better chance to land a top 3 pick in this lottery than make the playoffs. No. They have a 6% chance to get a top 3 pick and a 3% chance to make the playoffs.
You look at this point with LeBron. You have guys, Brandon Ingram's playing out of his mind the last 4 games.
He's played good the last 4 or 5 games, yeah.
He's snapping 20-plus points, 30 at one point.
Yep.
Grabbing rebounds with his little 110-pound self. It's impressive to watch. And don't get me wrong, there's still the inconsistencies. Kyle Kuzma, one day he can put down 30 in the next 15.
And I thought Josh Hart would really develop, but he hasn't.
No. And with LeBron, I understand a lot of the frustration, but you can't shine that through. And I think this is exactly why you've always seen LeBron lead veteran instead of young guys. He just doesn't connect. He's not there to play with young kids. He doesn't have the patience. He doesn't have any of it. You know why? Because LeBron thinks right now, this is my brand. This is my moment. This is my legacy. Not your legacy. Not your legacy. Screw your legacy. My legacy.
Do your legs make the playoffs?
Huh. I think LeBron somehow wills himself for that final seed, and they get obliterated.
Oh, yeah.
Obliterated. It's not even...
looking at the construction of this Lakers team,
can't make the playoffs here, and don't...
That's bad.
There's enough tools there. There's no excuse.
Speaking of LeBron, I think we get a LeBron quote.
Let's hit it.
When you've never been there or know what it takes to actually, shoot for something like that, and sometimes you're afraid to get uncomfortable. So you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I'm not saying that's what we are as a whole. Kind of looks that way at times. That sometimes we feel like we're afraid to be uncomfortable, kind of get out of our comfort zone. Have that sense of urgency, from the jump, and not be afraid to actually go out and fail to succeed.
You know what, LeBron? You know what makes you uncomfortable? Having to go out there and use all your energy every game. That makes you uncomfortable.
And
Why aren't
Tyler's
you doing
a big
that?
LeBron guy. So
big
LeBron.
It's
You're
obvious.
right there with Nick Wright.
Yes, we're hanging out together.
Yes.
Hey, Nick Wright. Shout out you, man. You're doing a lot.
Watch your show today.
Yes. Listen, LeBron himself. I just lost my whole
I'm sorry.
thing. What LeBron? Okay, here we go. I got the quote back up in my head.
Good.
Yes. Nope, I don't have it.
You're talking about all right, LeBron, he wasn't putting enough. You said
yes,
no
LeBron.
effort.
What makes you uncomfortable? Full energy every single night. He doesn't want to go out there and post 40 to force himself. He doesn't want to be like what James Harden had to do.
Yeah.
As much as people want to crap on James Harden as a leader, when everyone went down, what did James Harden do? He put the entire team.
40.
Yeah, the streak unfortunately just ended, but went out there and balled every single night to keep them in contention because those Rockets were fading faster and faster and faster. LeBron is not willing to put everything on the line to sacrifice himself for this playoff spot. That says a lot to me about where his focus is.
And will he be all right? So they obviously struck out on Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Who's to say things are going to change for next year? Is it entirely possible that this LA to LeBron to LA experiment has failed before it even began?
No, it's not impossible because not only has LeBron ruined a whole bunch of the leverage for the Lakers in terms of any trade talks.
This is his legacy.
Yeah, if this goes down as poorly as it's heading, it will hurt his legacy.
He doesn't miss the playoffs.
If he can make the AC,
to the Sacramento Kings.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If he can
Sacramento Kings,
if he can somehow make it to the A seed, I think people will excuse it. You know what I mean? It'll be looked at as one of those years LeBron was hurt.
Not making the playoffs, man.
That will stand out because every single person who's ever said LeBron only got to the finals because he was in the East, he's only done this, this continued greatness because of the East. Goes to the West first year, you can't make the A seed.
Bad.
The A seed, man. I don't care.
And you know what? This
are.
team's better than this Cleveland team last year.
Yes, it's way better.
Yes.
Wait, if he had a guy like Brandon Ingram with Cleveland. Oh, it would have been a whole different game changer. Man, someone who could consistently put up points and do other things. He had J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith doesn't know how to pass a basketball. It's the truth.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know where to look for the clock.
He doesn't know what basket to shoot on. He shot on the other basket.
Staring at LeBron, he was so amazed to be on the same court. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Brandon Ingram, as much as people want to call him immature and make all these jokes, at least he's going out there to ball. And you know what? You know he ain't cool with LeBron, and I respect that.
Brandon Ingram?
Yeah,
I
you can tell.
So.
And you know why? Because, listen, old man, you pulled up, you tried to boss us around. Hey, man, there's one teacher and there's the rest of the class. Wait till the class jumps you in the parking lot. Simple. It's that simple.
Luke Walton's still getting fired, but yeah.
Well, LeBron's going to jump him in the parking lot, and then the rest of the team will jump LeBron.
Did you see the report that Luke Walton missed the team bus?
Yeah.
Apparently it was fake.
Jason tweeted, "This is great." What was it? This ain't good or something.
I said, this is awesome. And Nate, he missed the bus. The bus left without him.
Bro, that goes to show no one's checking for Luke Walton.
He came outside. The bus was down the street.
They went down the attendance sheet. Luke Walton, no one said anything.
Ron's like, go.
Kid in the back's like, here. Oh, he's here. Okay. God, Luke Walton, man. Things are looking rough for you.
He was so good in
This
Golden
dude
State.
LeBron paid the bus driver to start taking off, man. That's crazy.
Yo, we got a doctor's appointment. I think we gotta go, man.
6:10. Were we supposed to take a break or no? Am I
We'll go
losing
5
it?
more minutes. We'll go 5 more minutes.
Okay. Did we come back at 6? Am I losing my mind? No, you didn't.
We'll go 5 minutes.
All right. What do we got next?
Want to talk some Zion?
Yes. Oh, that shoe.
Let's talk it.
I don't think it's a big deal.
All right. Do you think he should play collegiate basketball again?
Yes. I'll have a real issue if he doesn't. That shows
I agree,
an
'cause that
intensity
shows,
issue. Caring, character.
So I assume with that, so you know what's going to start to happen now?
Yeah.
So you know how NCAA players sit out bowl games?
Yes.
I think the same thing could happen. Sit out March Madness, the tournament.
I will feel a different way about that, just because a lot of those bowl games are useless. They don't mean anything. They're just an advertisement title, whatever it may be, unless they're the top tier ones. For the tournament, so many crazy moments have been made there. Legacies of guys who never made it in the NBA and still stick out for those games. It's just a special. It's a different kind of situation.
Do you think the NBA should change the age limit from 19
the one and
to
done
18?
rule? I would. Yeah, I think you should come straight out of high school if you can. I think there's a couple guys in this draft that could have. Zion could have easily came from high school. You know what I mean? The dude's a grown man.
But does that hurt the sport of college basketball?
No, because there will still be those guys. It lasted beforehand, and there were great rivalries, great teams, all that different stuff. There's going to be some guys who just want an education or to start in education. Some guys' dream is to go to a specific college. Hey, man, go do your thing.
Coach K,
But who are you to tell a grown 18 years old? You're a man. You're a man in this country. You're going to tell me whether I can go play basketball for a professional career? Look at what Luka did. Go make your money in Europe. I think that's going to be the next big thing. I think people are going to go, hey, man, maybe I don't want to go to the league because, listen, I know some people are saying the G League has the ability to groom certain guys and do things. I don't got that much faith in it. They say
Me neither.
Have you heard the worst G League team? They think they can beat Duke by 20. Do you believe that?
Bro,
I don't. I don't believe
probably
that.
Not.
I've heard that quote a couple different times. I think going to play overseas, we saw how easy Luka transferred over here. I think that's the new mindset.
Well, you look at guys like...
That makes your brand a whole different level.
Exactly. There's been players that haven't played much in college. I mean, Kyrie Irving played 11 games. Michael Porter played 3 games.
Yeah, just injuries knocked them out.
Yes.
And still didn't affect their draft stock whatsoever, not even a little bit.
So you think Zion's going to come back? He got lucky because I thought it was severe. When I first saw it, I
did too.
Like, oh.
And listen, I don't think that says anything about Nike. Nike's going to end up paying him because they have to now. They don't have a choice.
Well, it looks bad on Nike.
Yes, it does. The shoe exploded. But can you imagine this shoe campaign?
What are the chances that happens?
We built a shoe that can even handle Zion Williams now.
Yes.
Or Zion Williamson.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Do you think he signs with Nike after?
Yeah, 100%.
I think he still is.
Nike has all the money. They completely control it. As great as Adidas is, it's like Pepsi to Coke. It's the truth.
I'm not an Adidas guy. I'd be right there with Nike.
Nike can throw as much money, and they will do that because that will avoid any PR disaster. Because can you imagine Adidas commercial? I know these shoes can contain me. Zion Williamson.
But you see, Puma was making a little bit of a...
Get out, Puma. Are you kidding me?
At Brandon
Puma,
Clay.
Brandon Clay.
At Brandon Clay.
Get out of the radio station, Brandon Clay. You and your Puma sponsorship over here. Oh, my God. Nate hit his head. Oh, my God. Okay. We're going to keep moving forward. Nate's concussed. Rest in peace to the radio station. Ben, you want to take a break? Thanks, guys, everyone. We'll be back in a few.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken on YouTube. Don't forget, every episode airs live on the WMLN app. Just search WMLN in your Apple or Google Play Store.
Okay, so we're heading right into our NFL segment. We're going to start with Robert Kraft. Ben.
This morning, New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, fresh off celebrating his team's 6th Super Bowl win, is on the defense.
He's being charged with soliciting another to commit prostitution.
The billionaire is one of more than 24 men accused of frequenting this massage parlor, a front authorities say for prostitution. Investigators say Kraft visited twice. The months-long operation involved round-the-clock surveillance and hidden cameras inside.
The video that we obtained, it shows the act that took place.
Okay, so I think everyone saw, last Friday now, the story that broke about Robert Kraft soliciting, do you have the actual wording?
I can.
Soliciting prostitution?
Yes, I believe that's the correct proper term.
Obviously, there hasn't been much movement in terms
Not
of
since Friday, no.
of the case or anything like that. I think really the one, or I guess I'll give my opinion on it. Obviously, a really messed up situation here. I think
of course. It looks bad on everything.
Yeah. I think this is a continued representation of why you don't look at sports owners. You don't glorify them as these figures, these innocent, whatever it may be, innocent, what's the word? Great leader, all that different stuff. These are guys who are just in an industry, just like people are in other industries. There's some awful things that happen.
What do you think happens? What's your prediction? If you had to predict.
So nothing will happen involving draft picks or anything like that, obviously, because this is not an on-field issue. I think
that's fair.
A good thing to look back on is Jim Irsay. He was arrested on those drug charges.
That's a good comp. He got suspended 6 games. I think he got fined $500,000.
Yep, and his daughter had to take over the daily.
So, in terms of the Patriots,
his son. who's already in charge.
So Jonathan Kraft's already
Yeah.
the president of the team, so that wouldn't really bear any issues.
No.
What I think is going to happen, I think the NFL is going to let the. Well,
I think this is going to be a very, very solid. I think they're going to go very hard, and I think they should.
The NFL is going to let the legal, I think, investigation play out.
Yep.
If the video drops or it doesn't, and I do not believe it's going to drop, from what I read online. So we're gonna work on that.
No, I think with this situation alone, it's going to be a penalty that's placed on the owner himself. What's going to happen to Kraft?
I'm gonna go 4 games.
So you think?
I think he's gonna get.
No, see, if they do that, then they're gonna say, "Is that worse than drug charges on Irsay?" And he got 6 games. It has to be more than 6 games, does it not? Right?
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
So Irsay was.
Or you're entering a PR disaster.
Yeah, that's so true. What would the Irsay exact? I'm gonna look at
drug possession.
I think it was a little bit more than that.
Was it?
Driving. I
Yes.
think it was
drug possession in a DUI.
I think so.
Or
like that,
whatever they consider.
No, you're right. You're right with that. He was 2014, arrested under suspicion of DUI, drug possession.
Yeah.
In Indiana. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna go. All right, then probably 6 to 8.
I'm gonna go 12.
You can go 12.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick it at 8.
I'm gonna go 12, and I think there's a possibility for the entire season.
There's a possibility.
Yeah. I think Goodell's gonna lay the hammer as hard as he can here. He has to. This is
he has to from a PR standpoint.
Number one. You look at it. If we're being honest, human trafficking is a very big issue in this country and all over the world. It's an issue that's just starting to get attention from national media and different stuff like that. We've seen in the NFL how deaf they've been to issues with women.
Well, they've screwed up so many times before.
They're going to overcompensate. No,
exactly.
it's not overcompensating, but they're going to go to the full limits, and they're not catching anyone any breaks.
Started from I think Ray Rice was the really first one. Well, Ray Rice was before Greg Hardy, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ray Rice was way before. Yeah, Ray Rice was the one that really screwed that one up.
What year was that? 2014. I think it's 5 years to the month right now, off the top of my head. 2014. The Ray Rice incident.
Ray Rice was
when
5 years?
Film came out and everything.
5 years, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we still talk about it like it happened a year or two ago.
He never got a job.
No. And this was a guy who was the ad for bullying campaigns and different stuff like that.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen, I definitely think Robert Kraft should be punished, and I hope the NFL takes it to the most further degree, because this is a big issue in this country. Whether you look at it as someone who just went for the action itself and didn't know the operations, you were involved in it, you were doing dirty things, you're going to face the punishment.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it.
What do we got next on our agenda today?
Would you want to look at the quarterback class of 2019? Do you want to shoot over to that?
Let's actually hit on the McCourty brothers real quick. We'll hit the little things.
All right, so Devin and Jason both returning.
Yep. At this point, I know we talked a little last week about whether we thought... So Devin, obviously, he's entering the last year of his 5-year, $47.5 million contract. He signed back in 2015. It's a $13 million cap hit for this season, but Jason's a free agent.
Jason's a free agent, yes.
What makes me a little interested is now with Greg Schiano. Obviously, both guys went to Rutgers, came up with him, both spoke about it, talked about it was cover two blitz. Devin said...
Devin, I think it was on NBC Sports Boston. Devin talked about how more aggressive he was.
Very hard on his guys.
He's very...
thought coming to New England and playing here was easier.
If not as he asks a lot from his players.
Yeah, and sometimes...
And I guess that's a good thing.
In Tampa Bay, he was called out by multiple players for saying he was too hard, disrespectful.
And that was a head coach.
Wannabe Bill Belichick.
From a defensive coordinator position, I think that's going to work more in his favor.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to realize, listen, Bill's in this room too. As tough as you want to get, you answer to him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I think there's a familiar... Deron Harmon as well.
Yep.
That obviously helps.
Rutgers has been used, Jacoby Brissett getting pulled from there, whoever you want to go.
Well, he was North Carolina State.
Or was it North Carolina? Mm-hmm. You go back to Rutgers, there's obviously been a number of players drafted out of there. The Patriots are always linked to their guys over the years. That's the reason. They're used to the system. They say playing over at Rutgers is harder than anything else. You know what I mean?
Devin McCourty, again, in that article referencing back, he talked about how that real playing for Rutgers really helped him prepare for the Patriots because he knew what to expect. He knew what to expect for the pregame meetings, just for the whole entire week of practices because he pushed him hard.
Yeah. Rutgers is one of those teams. I know we've been linked to quarterbacks.
I mean, Rutgers, the program, in terms of getting wins, is obviously they suck. But
listen, it's not like they're drawing in the most talent. You know what I mean?
It hasn't translated to wins and losses.
Exactly. Rutgers, reason Patriots are tied to them every year. This is just an extension to that. Do you think this changes the chances of, not changes, but do you think this will impact Jason returning?
I don't really think it has much of a factor.
I don't think it's just not a fit. And Jason McCourty's done very well in the advanced metrics.
If I had to guess,
Football
I think
Focus.
Jason McCourty's probably not a Patriot.
No, I agree with you. I'm curious if Devin's really going to hold on to this as something they want to be together, because every one of their quotes was, "I want to still play with my brother." Like da 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 da.
That's cool, but Devin's under contract. Jason's not.
Yeah, it felt like last year Jason was a little bit of a favor. Who knows?
Well, I agree. He was.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about it when he had a week preseason. He had a week training camp. We were talking about
J.C. Jackson took snaps from him.
Exactly. Is Devin McCourty, because Devin McCourty is obviously one of the leaders of that defense, is he going to be upset if Jason McCourty gets cut?
Yeah.
And I think Jason McCourty was brought in to win the locker room back, per se. I really believe that with the whole Malcolm Butler debacle.
Honestly, I think for the Patriots, if you're going to be smart about your depth chart, you're not going to force things in here, and that's not the Patriot way.
Well, no, you have obviously Gilmore returning. You have J.C. Jackson. Jonathan Jones is a restricted free agent. Eric Rose, an unrestricted free agent. You have Duke Dawson, who you drafted in the second round out of Florida. So we'll see. I think they're going to probably be in the market for another cornerback to play that third cornerback role.
I don't think...
I think J.C. Jackson's your cornerback too next year.
100% agree. J.C. Jackson showed things. Yes, there was a lot of flags and different stuff like that, but even in the biggest moments coming down to the Super Bowl, important drives, end of the game drives, it's great to go ahead and think about the play that Jason made in the back of the end zone, but he wasn't the one they were depending on consistently to make those big plays. It just turned out, Jason saw something, made a great play, great in coverage, but... Of course, the Super Bowl, he was awesome. Yeah, it's just in terms of fit, what we got. Dude, you know who I was thinking of when I was talking about Rutgers?
Who?
Tom Savage. I don't know
why.
why.
He went to Pittsburgh. No,
he was a Rutgers guy.
No.
I'm looking at Rutgers Scarlet Knight quarterback right here. All the way down the line.
Maybe he was.
2009, 2010.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's why he was linked to him.
Exactly.
So
that's why it just clicked. But yeah, overall, I think you go ahead and
Actually, we were both right. He started at Rutgers, and then he transferred to Pittsburgh.
Yes, that's what it was. But no, you go ahead, you look at Jason McCourty as a whole. Great story last year. I think it ends there. You know what I mean? Unless they're feeling very, very generous.
But yeah, in terms of Savage, he played 2 years of Rutgers, and then he went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Over the years, all these QBs in my head.
All the crap ones, they just blend.
They just blend. Guys who don't ever become...
You see Christian Hackenberg got benched?
Yes. It's like all these... Zach Mettenberger, like all these names, they just trigger, they all connect. Like you remember schools to certain guys. Like schools get mixed up.
E.J. Manuel.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Geno Smith. Like the names just start to fade, the schools.
Chad Henne.
Chad Henne. Rest in peace, man.
Blaine Gabbert. Chad
some
Kelly.
rough years.
Chad Kelly.
Some poor franchises right there. Hey, man, life comes at you quick, man.
Apparently so.
What do we got next for comments? We hit off McCourty. We hit Kraft. Should we talk Michael Crabtree real quick?
So Michael Crabtree just got released.
Yep.
Not much of a surprise.
Caught 54 passes for 607 yards and 3 touchdowns in 16 games. In the season's final 7 games, he did start all of those, but it became a run-first kind of offense, and he only caught 13 passes for 135 yards and a touchdown. I think this is solely a scheme issue. Michael Crabtree doesn't fit in their scheme anymore. I still think he's a very good wide receiver in this league. And personally, I think Colts and him are a very, very good match.
You think so?
Yeah, I think the Colts are going to be looking someone a little physical, consistent, not that true number one guy, but a little bit of a security blanket, a little bit of that Robert Woods type. I think Michael Crabtree's kind of the original of that role. I think he fits perfectly.
He's the first name to get released, per se. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more flying in within the next 2-3 weeks of guys getting cut.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Guys that are under contract. Danny Amendola has already been rumored to get released.
Welcome back.
No, I don't think so. But
welcome back.
I'm going to say no right now. There's so many others.
Yeah.
Ndamukong Suh's another one. There's a lot of them.
It's just at this time of the year, Michael Crabtree is definitely not going to be the most exciting name on the list. So
No, of course not. That's what's awesome about the NFL.
He'll find a team next year, and he's going to be a very good player again, I think. The Ravens weren't the right fit. Ben, should we get going on our Kevin Colbert comment situation?
Pull it up, Ben.
Actually, you know what? Can we hold for a second before we play it? Do I have the quote? Yes. Okay, so the clip we're about to play is Colbert's reaction after these comments blew up. He said, Ben is the unquestionable leader of this group. Like I said, he's the elder statesman and the Super Bowl winner. If our players were smart, they'd listen to him because he's been there. He's done it. He can tell them. No, guys, what you're doing is or is not good enough to do this, and I honestly believe that can be a burden on him more often than he may like to admit. Because he has to. He's got 52 kids under him. Quite honestly, I want them to step up and say, "Hey, Ben, what do I have to do? Can I do this better? What do we have to win? What do we have to do to win a Super Bowl?" Sorry, my reading skills are definitely not college
So
level.
that's the Steelers GM.
Yes. So these are his comments in response.
Well, you know what, Patrick, in referencing to our younger players, what I was referencing is, Ben is the only player that's ever won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we have a few of our players were on the team, Antonio included, when unfortunately we lost to the Green Bay Packers. Antonio and, of course, Marquise was on that team as well, Marquise Pouncey. So I was referencing the younger players on our team and their lack of experience in a Super Bowl winning environment. And Ben's really the only one that can say that he has done that. So I think there's tremendous value in that.
Well, my take on that is probably the Steelers are a mess right now.
Yep.
Obviously, internally, I think there's a lot of
I think this just
internal.
This adds fuel to what happened with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell.
I think Brown and Bell are both gone.
Yeah,
but I still
without a
think there's
doubt.
more issues in. I think there's a lot of people that don't believe in Ben. I think there's a disconnect between Tomlin and Ben. I think there's disconnect between the GM and Tomlin. I think the whole thing's done. I think the Steelers' reign of AFC North titles and
there's been dysfunction
winning
in this
seasons.
organization for a bit.
I think this is the year they really fall off the table.
I think if anything, the biggest story that comes out of this completely gives credit to Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell situations. You have a GM
They're
here.
both walking out the door anyway.
Well, no, but it doesn't matter. You're speaking in terms of a case, and other players are going to follow that route if they're upset like this. If they're going ahead, people are commenting, this guy's saying it's Ben Roethlisberger and then everyone else. No, he's not going to say anything. He's too brand heavy. He wants to be the fun kid.
Very true.
Listen, with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, this gives credit. People who go, these guys are just upset. You're an athlete. It can't be that bad. Well, you got a GM here who's telling you it's Ben Roethlisberger and then everyone else.
Yeah,
and you're talking about a guy in Ben Roethlisberger.
He struggled mightily the last 2 years.
This guy's not my leader. With the off the field issues you have, you can sit down. You think you're going to tell me what to do? Who are you going to talk to me like that? Get out of here, man. Listen, it's great to see what you've done on the field. You haven't been yourself in years.
No, he hasn't been the same guy in the last 2 or 3 years.
It's been more than that. You look at the home and away struggles.
He's been terrible
on
the road.
For some time
he's been
now.
terrible on the road. Not good in the playoffs either.
This guy doesn't have the character or the performance anymore to hold that.
No, with the Steelers, with the whole division as a whole, I think it's wide open.
No, and I understand why players have gone ahead and they've said, they take this in a racial way.
And I think this is probably Tomlin's last year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a mutual parting person.
Yeah.
I think they're both. I think this is probably Roethlisberger's last year too. I think I think the whole thing is gone.
Yeah.
I think Tomlin's going to move on to find another job. I think Roethlisberger's gone too. I think the whole thing in Pittsburgh
it's been falling
gone.
apart.
And I think Tomlin wants out.
When you lose foundation pieces, there's a reason.
Do you think Tomlin wants out?
Yeah, 100%. You look at foundation pieces here. If they're leaving, there's an issue. Guys don't just walk away to walk away. That's what people don't realize. The biggest story here is not that the Steelers team is falling apart. It's that this kind of treatment and mindset has been taking place in a locker room. It's favoritism. It's respect towards one player, and it's disrespectful to the other guys who, when Colbert said this quote originally, he didn't credit Pouncey. He didn't credit any of those guys. He cared when he was speaking just about Big Ben.
Look what James Harrison said when he left the organization. He was like, playing in New England was awesome.
And that's solely the story here. It's all these claims. They are true. They are right. They go back to athletes. As much as people want to call Brown a diva or Le'Veon Bell, you can call them things, whatever they may be, but they had reasons. Because I'm not going to play under a guy who only respects one. That's it. Who looks at all of us as kids. These are grown men who work their entire life to get to the NFL.
Not to mention how many times he's really talked to the media, and he said Roethlisberger said so many comments along these lines.
It goes beyond comments, man. The things this guy has done, he doesn't deserve or earn any respect. That's over any other player. If anything, he deserves less. Your conduct hasn't been great. It's been disrespectful to the Steelers, to the league, to women. take your L.
And they drafted Mason Rudolph last year. In the second
fun.
round, doesn't look like it's really turning into anything.
Well, let's just draft prototypical quarterbacks and hope something great happens.
So the whole franchise is a mess.
It's been a mess. It's
been a mess, but
and,
now they really don't have any talent.
Things blow up internally before they blow up on the outside.
Yeah, they've had so many internal issues that's been leaking out for 3 years now. Yeah. I mean, the record really hasn't suffered much because they made the playoffs. The consistency has, but they've had playoff games. They've made the playoffs. They've benefited from being in a division with the Browns and the Bengals.
I think that's these guys like Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, who've carried this team. It's in spite of guys like this, in spite of the organization who frames things like this. Just gives more credit to them. And hey, I'm happy for both of them because a lot of people didn't hear any of their cries or what they had to say. I wouldn't want to play under this guy either.
I say he's got 1, maybe 2 years left. But I think this is Tomlin's last year.
All right.
Probably GM's last year, too, if I'm being honest with you.
After quotes like this, you just created a PR disaster, and you somehow couldn't even fix a little bit of it when you went out for another comment. Yeah. You came off just as basically defending yourself, which, hey, man, great job, but none of these players are going to respect you. Last question before we take a break. Who do you think has the biggest moment of the 2019 NFL Combine?
Define biggest moment.
Biggest wow moment, most talked about thing. Not storyline heading in,
it's
but
gonna be
moment. I think it's Kyler Murray.
I was going to say Kyler Murray's height.
Yeah. I think the height, we know the conversation at this point. I think it's going to be a little taller because I think the media is starting to run away with it gets a little shorter every day, it feels.
Kyler Murray's height's a story. I want to see Nick Bosa. We haven't seen if he participates in. I'm not sure his availability in the Combine, but he obviously shut it down 2 months prior. Nobody's really seen him in 2 months. He kind of quit on Ohio State, so I'm curious to see him.
I think Jalen Hurd could have a really big moment with some of the crazy. He's on that kind of freak athlete.
I want to see Dwayne Haskins.
Mm-hmm.
Very curious about him. I want to see the kid from Duke.
Yep.
I just want to see him. I'm curious with this whole quarterback class. Yeah, Jones. The quarterback class is usually the best part. The 40 times cool, I guess.
That seems to always be the most exciting thing. The record, whether it gets breaking every year.
The tight ends. They say this is a generational group of tight ends. Mm-hmm. So that should be interesting to see the pass catchers and see if they can block and that kind of thing. But no, the whole story is Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was probably Josh Allen's arm.
Yeah.
That ended up being the story.
I want to see Mac, the tight end out of Notre Dame. He's kind of one of those guys who's been considered underachiever. Wasn't really using his skills.
I see the tight end from Iowa.
Yeah.
Hawkinson.
Yeah. A lot, and his stock is jumping through the boards right now in that first round. A lot of people were linking him and the Patriots. It doesn't look like they're going to get anywhere close to that.
The kid from Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like he's going to be top 15, top 20 pick.
Mox originally had him 32, different stuff like that.
Yeah, he's not going to be. No.
Okay, we're going to take a little break here before we go into questions.
Yep.
All right, Ben, take us away.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken on YouTube. Don't forget, every episode airs live on the WMLN app. Just search WMLN in your Apple or Google Play Store.
All right, Jay, we got questions?
Yes.
Hit me with them.
I'll hit you with them. All right, first question is from our producer, Ben.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro. So, LeBron announced Space Jam 2 is being announced. What are your thoughts, Tyler?
I have a confession.
What's your confession?
I've never seen Space Jam.
How have you not seen Space Jam, Tyler?
I'm a loser.
Ben, what do you think?
That is the most sacrilegious, horrible, absurd thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth, Ty.
Should I leave the station?
That's
honestly
bad. That's
all right, everyone. So this is my last show of Pombo Milliken. If you'd like to apply to be station manager or Jason's co-host, oh God,
you gotta see. No, you'd have to see.
I will watch it before I.
All right. So what's your take on?
LeBron's gonna be better.
You think LeBron's will be better? You think so?
Yep.
Well, you know what? He's probably putting more effort than acting than basketball right now.
What was the movie you just said? Trainwreck?
Yeah, we're talking Trainwreck with Meghan Trainor.
Was LeBron good in that movie?
I haven't seen it either. No, I haven't seen it.
Did you see it, bro?
No, we
Nate?
haven't seen it. No.
Nate?
No.
Nate says it wasn't that good. I feel like Nate would give credit if it was a good acting job. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it's fun. It just feels too late.
Yeah, what was it, 98? 99?
I think it came out like the year we were born, man.
Yeah.
Like it was
so
old.
21 years.
Like, it's coming out 2021. They said.
In fairness, how long does it take for like a generational talent to come along?
2022.
That's a fair point.
They probably had to wait for the next LeBron.
Because Jordan didn't want to do a second one.
Right.
That was the whole thing.
Which I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, it was good. You got to see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I'm excited. What's
your favorite sports movie?
Angels in the Outfield, probably, or Rookie of the Year.
Moneyball.
I've never seen Moneyball.
You've never seen Moneyball?
No, and I am the biggest. I know. I haven't. Listen,
I haven't either.
I don't.
But Tyler's
It's
obsessed
worse.
with baseball.
It's worse
Ben.
for me.
That's fair.
I can't. I never sit down.
Ben,
and watch
that's like you
movies.
skipping the Daytona 500.
Yes.
It's like me not watching Talladega Nights or not watching
exactly.
Miracle on Ice.
Exactly.
Jonah Hill's in that movie.
Yes.
Moneyball. I love Jonah Hill too.
Yeah.
This is such a.
I mean, it's a different role.
Is it on Netflix or Hulu
Definitely
or something?
not. No, it's too good for Netflix.
Too good. Dang.
It's true.
Gonna have to hit him with that on demand.
Yeah. No, you got to next week.
Next week.
You got an assignment.
I'll watch it. We'll watch.
You got an
We'll talk
assignment.
Moneyball next week.
I'm asking a question about it.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's a cool segment. We each watch an old sports movie every week. That's a pretty cool segment,
Dude,
right?
that's solid.
All right,
solid
okay.
idea.
The Natural movie.
The
That's a
Natural.
solid.
I have not seen that one.
That is also good.
Is it
That's
good?
really good.
You got your assignment, Tyler.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
sir. Professor Pombo.
Next question's from Burnett. All right, here. Thoughts on JBJ having a new swing technique?
It's cool. No, listen. Hey,
I know we talked about it earlier.
yeah, it's nice to see it in spring training. It was nice to see it work in live BP and then a game. I'm not going to get too excited until I see that approach across at least, a good sample size. We've seen JBJ. He's a killer of spring training. The regular season is what matters to me at this point. I keep working. If you can work with JD Martinez hitting coaches, go for it. You can only get better at that point.
That's where he incorporated it?
Yes, he's been working with the hitting gurus who turned Martinez's career around. So hopefully. And JD's been working with them too.
Martinez's been working with a lot of guys too.
Yeah, JD is plugged into baseball, man. He knows where to go. For him to make the jump he has from...
Should coach when he's done.
Yeah.
Or manage, I should say.
For him to jump from someone who couldn't even get a spot on a roster to...
Yeah. Got cut.
One of the best hitters in the league, arguably the best.
Yeah.
You can't really debate it. I won't get excited about JBJ till opening day.
Okay.
And we start getting a sample size.
Next question's from Nate. Over or under 5 quarterbacks going in the first round of the draft?
Under. Yeah. Are you under as well? I can't imagine 5 going in the first round.
5's a lot.
I think there's a chance for 3, 4 tops.
All right, Haskins is 1.
Yep. Kyler Murray
Is 2. I think the kid from Duke is 3.
Nah, Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock's actually been ahead of him in a lot of mocks.
I'm going to say under 2. I think it's
3 tops.
I think it's 4 tops.
I think Will Greer, someone gets really crazy, but I don't think...
Now, Greer's fallen as of late.
My guess... And I don't think Drew Lock, no one's going to take a chance on him in the first round. People may give him
I
the
think
grade.
someone's going to take a kid on the Duke kid. I really do.
In the first round?
I really do.
That seems this is a guy who lacks velocity. It's shown as a serious
Walter
weakness
Football
in his
here
tools.
says they project him top 20.
Who?
Walter Football.
Walter Football?
Yeah, that's like Walter Football.
Don't trust that.
You don't trust,
No.
I think Daniel Jones is going to
They project NFL drafts like 15
No,
years
this is
ahead.
this is updated as of last week.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
No, I know what you're talking about. I can look at a 2022
Yeah,
mock
I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I've seen some crazy things on that website.
I like Jones, though. You don't like him?
No, lacks velocity in a serious way.
I don't like Locke.
And according to scouting, I'm not a big fan of Locke either. According to a lot of scouting reports, they don't believe he can build
I like
that velocity.
Haskins. He's accurate. I don't
Yep.
like Murray, but he's going to be a first rounder.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go with 4. There's no way it's 5, though.
Yeah, I'll go 3.
All right, next question. What are the Jets going to do at receiver this offseason?
I think they're going to take a real shot at Antonio Brown. I think they're going to be cautious. But you have not a great spot where you are. You have Quincy Enunwa, who you've given money to. Robbie Anderson had a late surge.
Through the draft, or they?
I think it's more through the draft. They're going to use those picks. They're going to try to find a young tandem to go along with Sam Darnold, an impact player they can have control under. They're trying to build a young
I think they
foundation.
should take advantage of this draft being a heavy tight end.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine.
I've seen some mock drafts where they pick tight end. They trade down. And they use their first rounder on a tight end.
Yeah,
the kid from Iowa specifically.
I think they're going to use those picks. They're going to add up wide receivers, tight ends. I think as great as Antonio Brown would be as a fit, I think at this point I'm starting to side with you, Pombo. I think the Raiders are the ideal fit for him.
I think the Raiders are there. I told you San Francisco, Arizona, one of those 3.
I think the Jets are just going to go and add more young talent to the mix. They want more guys than just one dependable. They're trying to open that offense up in a lot of ways, not just one.
All right, last question here. We started with baseball. We're going to end it with baseball. Where is Bryce Harper going to land? Is he going? All right, I'm going to ask you. All right, I'm going to add a question. Is he signed before the next Tuesday?
He better be. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah. So there's actually an issue here. Okay. MLB The Show, right?
Yeah, I know.
He's the cover athlete for this game.
That is a big issue.
Games are going to start getting printed.
Well, Kyrie was the 2K guy.
Yep.
And didn't they change the cover for him? Right?
I'm not sure.
I believe.
Do you remember the Brett Favre incident?
Yes.
There was
Packers.
They had the Packers case, and then they actually ended up making a Jets case later on.
18, I think.
Kyrie.
Was 18? Yes. Yeah, it was him with the Celtics.
And what was the situation with the changing cover there? I don't remember it.
He was supposed to be the cover athlete.
Yeah.
He was with Cleveland.
Yep.
And I think they already started to print the Cleveland ones, and I think they just switched them over.
Yeah.
Look, This is what the cover was originally supposed to be?
Let me see. Yeah, no, yeah.
And then it ended up being that.
Yeah, that's cool. Listen, I think with Harper, I don't know how ahead of time did they end up figuring that situation out. For when did 2K release
I remember that was
year?
Kyrie's first
2K
Instagram
releases
picture
in
was
what,
a Celtic.
September?
It was the 2K Cup.
Yeah, 2K comes out in September.
Around there.
Yeah, so they had
September.
time for all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, MLB The Show comes out, I believe, March 23rd, 26th, something like that.
So they need
soon.
I know there's been a lot of rumor. They said that's how he's going to announce his.
That's my guess.
Like a picture of him and.
Yeah, Nate just showed us a report that said Harper will make a decision by the end of the week. I'm going to fall into that camp as well. I don't think he's going to push it. April has been the best month of Bryce Harper's entire career. He's not going to go to the point where he messes up his own spring training. Because if he has a slow
He's
April.
already getting to the point where it's already getting impacted.
He's a hitter. I'm not too worried. I'm pretty sure he's been keeping up reps-wise. Games, there's only been a couple played.
Yeah, of course.
But for a player who, April's his best month, I don't think he's going to want to jeopardize that. And if he starts off slow, he's going to set an awful tone for the team and that entire contract. And after all these different issues they've had where it seems Phillies keep saying they've offered him the most money and he's not taking that deal, you're going to create issues with players.
Where's he going quick? Where's he going?
I'm going to stay Phillies. I think he ends up going to the Phillies. I think Phillies put him to the test.
I'll be different. I'll just be different. He's going to the Dodgers.
Oh, God. Hey, man, if he goes to the Dodgers, baseball's going to break. All right, thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you missed this episode, you're tuning in now. Check out the YouTube. It'll be up later this week. See you not next week. We'll have a show uploaded to YouTube next week. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Pombo and Milliken today. Do not forget, every episode is going to be uploaded on YouTube from now on. If you are not following Pombo and Milliken on Twitter, it's PANDM_WMLN. That's PANDM_WMLN. Keep an eye out for the tweets, including the link to the YouTube videos. More Pombo and Milliken will be back on YouTube next week.
WMLN-FM 91.5 Milton, Boston. The South Shore's award-winning college radio station. Listen 24/7 from the WMLN app.
Yeah, baby.
Download it for free today from the Apple or Google Play Store.